Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much, everybody. We welcome everybody to the Movement Radio, a platform that is designed to change the narrative and changing lives. And of course, deal with the rhetoric and analyze us, give us a proper analysis of the situation of things across Africa and, of course, especially Nigeria in focus. And we are here again with very interesting articles for us to dissect. We are here to have a robust conversation around our collective realities. And today, we anticipate the participation of everybody to join us as we dissect some of these issues of national importance. Um, things are happening in our country, and we have a duty to you know to either ignore it or analyze it, for the education of our people. I remain yours truly, Amuson Ibukonlua, Movement Radio Nigeria, and I have the pleasure of having one of our correspondents too from Abuja. Let me pass the mic to him at this point.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in any part of the world. This is Abdullah Salisu, and I am from Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome back to another interesting edition, interesting episode. I hope it's going to be very interactive, very engaging. We need you to come in through the X platform to come and air your opinion also regarding the very engaging article we are going to discuss today. We welcome you to Movement Radio. If this is your first time joining us, you are welcome. This is a Movement Radio which we are here not to do the conventional media stories. We are here to dissect articles that relate with our current reality. And Movement Radio is not just here to give you Kokambo stories. No, it's your own platform for you to come and air your opinion, share your mind, and then we all find a suitable path for Nigeria. The progress of Nigeria belongs to all of us, not just my responsibility or your responsibility alone. It's a collective responsibility, and that's the essence of Movement Radio. So thank you. I welcome once again.
Thank you so very much. Yes, indeed, you're welcome once again, and we will go right into the art of the issue. Talking about the enemy of Nigeria, the enemy of Nigeria. And this article is such an interesting one. And it's an article by the name of the author of that article is Inze Uku Ugezu. So sorry, I must have not done a good justice to that pronunciation, but please take me as I am. This article we want to read, we'll read the entire thing. After reading the entire thing, then we would now have a summary of it. After having the summary of it, then we will then go into the mind map to have the pidgin version. Um, Mr. Abdullahi, please go right ahead to read through the article for us. Then we'll begin
Okay.
to dissect as we anticipate the presence of all our viewers all over the world today. Thank you so very much. Over to you.
Thank you so much. The article titled The Enemies of Nigeria by Ize Uzogu. Nigerians' greatest enemies are not external force, foreign conspirators, or abstract historical misfortune. They sit comfortably within the nation's leadership and operate confidently in the corridors of power. This is not a claim rooted in emotion, but one grounded in pattern of governance that have persist for decades. The tragedy of Nigeria, the tragedy of Nigeria is not lack of knowledge. It's not lack of knowledge. Sorry, I'm gonna skip it. It's not lack of knowledge about what to do. It is the deliberate refusal to do it. Those in power in Nigeria know exactly what makes nation work. They travel abroad, educate their children in a functional system, seek medical care in countries with working health infrastructure, invest their private wealth in economies governed by law, transparency, and accountability. They understand the value of electricity, security, efficient institutions, independent courts, and merit based governance. Yet they return home to preside over dysfunction, which chilling consistency. This contradiction is the clearest evidence that Nigerian problem is not ignorance but intent. A functional Nigeria Functional Nigeria will threaten the current power structure. When institutions work, individuals become less powerful. When laws are enforced, impunity collapses. When systems replace patronage, godfathers lose relevance. Many within the corridors of power thrive precisely because Nigeria does not work. Chaos becomes capital, poverty becomes leverage, weak Weak institutions become tools of control. In such an environment, loyalty is purchased, not earned. Elections are managed, not contested. And a little bit up, governance is reduced to survival of the connected. Corruption, okay, corruption in Nigeria, corruption in Nigeria is not, a little bit down. Okay, corruption in Nigeria is not accidental. It is organized, it is sustained by deliberate policy failure, selective law enforcement, and the weaponization of state institutions against passive enemies. While allies enjoy immunity, files disappear, cases drag endlessly in court, anti-corruption rhetoric is used as a political weapon rather than moral commitment. If corruption were genuine confronted, many powerful figures will not survive politically, socially, and legally. The the economy follow the same pattern of deliberate sabotage. Nigeria knows how to how diversify, industrialize, and empower local production. Policies have been written, expert consulted, and solutions clearly mapped out. Yet nothing changed because economic reform threatens enrich interests that profit productive economy. Sorry, the profit from import dependence, subsidy fraud, and currency manipulation. A productive economy reduces dependence on political patronage and up, please, a little. Depend is the oxygen of the bad leadership. Education and healthcare suffer the same intentional neglect, and a well educated population question authority. Authority. A healthy population resists exploitation. So, public school decay while private alternatives flourish for the elite. Teaching hospital, teaching hospital collapse while officials fly abroad for treatment. The message un, is unmistakable. The state has no intention of serving the people. It expects them to fend for themselves. Worse still is the dangerous silence of those who should speak, many who Many who understand the truth have benefit from corrupt money, compromised their conscience, choosing comfort over courage. Their silence has become an enabler of nation decline. Nigeria is not broken beyond repair. It is a belief deliberately restrained. The system that will make the country work already exists. What is missing is the will to allow them function without manipulation. This the painful truth is this: Nigeria will start working the moment those in power decide that the country matters more than their privileges. Until then, the real enemies of Nigeria will remain firmly seated at the table of power and well fed, well protected, and fully aware of what they refuse to do. By Ize Uku Ugezu J. Ugezu writes. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. The whole idea of this article is not mistaken. There is very, very clear. But we are here to make it clearer for Nigerians. And that is why we also have a summarized version of this great article by our wonderful African sister. And let's go right into it. Enemies of Nigeria, the summary. The core argument presented is that Nigeria's greatest enemies are not external forces, but rather its own leadership, who deliberately obstruct the nation's progress. Hmm, that is quite profound. All right, let's move
Definitely.
on. Internal sabotage. Hmm. Those in power are aware of what makes nation function, as evidenced by their personal use of functional systems abroad for education, healthcare, and investment. However, they preside over dysfunction at home. Hmm. Let's move on. Intent over ignorance. Intent over ignorance. What do we mean by that? The problem is not lack of knowledge, but a deliberate refusal to implement solutions. A functional Nigeria would threaten the current power structure where chaos, poverty, and weak institutions are exploited for control and personal gain.
Yes, this is
Interesting.
actually telling us that Nigerians, it's not that we don't know, but we know, but refusal to do it. Just like
Hmm.
connecting with the first point, saying that internal sabotage. So that's internal sabotage is telling you that the people that are there is not that they cannot do it, but they can do it, but they refuse to do it. So our leaders is not that they are unaware that things can work, but they know it can work because they enjoy it somewhere abroad. That's why they don't allow their children. They don't even seek medical treatment here, but they fly abroad. They make sure that they know the system is not working. And who makes them not to work? Them, because they know they are the ones who is making it. They are the ones who are making it not to work. So it is not the lack of knowledge or lack of awareness, but intentional refusal to do it. They are not ready to do it. They just want it to be remain like that as a what tool of control. That's what the 2 points are just trying to explain to us. That it's not that we are ignorance, we are aware, we are fully aware.
Hmm. Interesting. We are indeed fully aware. Let's move on in the summary of that article, The Enemies of Nigeria. The intent over ignorance. Okay, I think
Yes,
I've
it's
read this.
organized corruption that we are going.
Organized corruption is the next bullet point. organized corruption. Corruption is not accidental, but systematically sustained through policy failures, selective law enforcement, and the weaponization of state institutions. Hmm, interesting.
This one
The
is
next
very
bullet point,
interesting. Actually.
very, very
Let's
interesting.
go. Then
We
we
go,
join the
we
two
go,
further.
we are still going to dissect it. By the time
Yes,
we get to the
definitely.
mind map, that mind map will afford us enough opportunity to dissect it into pieces.
Yes.
Now, organized corruption. Corruption is not accidental, but systematically sustained through policy failures, selective law enforcement, and weaponization of state institutions. Then the next bullet point is economic deliberate sabotage. Despite clear policies for diversification and industrialization, reforms are blocked by entrenched interests profiting from import dependence and fraud. Hmm. The next bullet point says intentional neglect of social services. Intentional neglect of social services. Education and healthcare are deliberately neglected to prevent a questioning populace and maintain exploitation. The next bullet point says silence of the complacent. Many who understand the truth remain silent. Hmm. Compromised by corrupt gains, enabling national decline. Then we'll move to the next bullet point that happens to be the last bullet point restrained, not broken. Nigeria is not beyond repair, but it is being deliberately restrained. The system for functionality exists. The missing element is the will of those in power to prioritize the country over their privileges. So the author concludes that Nigeria will not, no, we only improve. The author concludes that Nigeria will only improve when its leaders decide the country matters more than their personal advantages, until which time the true enemies will remain in power. This is quite profound, and it's such an interesting situation for us to go through it in the real sense of it, so that we can, see the real juice of the discussion. Very, very important, because we are in trouble in this country, and until we really highlight this situation, we aren't going nowhere. We are not going anywhere until we analyze this issue thoroughly. So yes, corruption, the enemies of Nigeria. That is the topic. I think you can see it on your
Yes,
screen
that
from the
yes
mind map.
map. Yes, yes.
And then we'll now move up to take a look at the concept line by line. Okay, and this is where it gets tricky, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Okay, just 1 minute, because it's important for us to dissect this issue. In our indigenous lingua franca. Very important. Very, very important. Right. Okay. 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 I think it is clearer like this.
Yes.
Okay. 1 minute. One moment, please. I think there's still something at the top.
Up.
And that is what I'm.
Yes.
There's still some points at the top, but
Yes, I think
because
you can just read it even if it's giving you some kind of.
I will try to figure it out one way or the other. Okay, I think it is clear, a little bit clear like this. And from my
Yes,
side, let
go
me
ahead.
just read let me just read from my own end the first bullet point:
Yeah.
the enemies of Nigeria, which is internal leadership. Hmm. Now, him be say the leadership where they inside us. All right, the internal leadership of Nigeria, not external forces. Many Nigerians, they always believe say our problem now from the Oyinbo people. Say na them they disturb, na them they deal with this country. Of course, we can see their hands in all of our situation. But how about us? Where would they for our Obodo Nigeria here? Operate in corridor of power. Yes, all of our current leaders, all right, deliberate refusal to act. Deliberate refusal to act. That is, we self, we no fee talk, say we no agree for these all things where they happen for our country. All right. Then you have root causes of dysfunction. Knowledge
Yes.
exists, but not applied. We get knowledge for our Obodo, Nigeria. All right. But we know they apply many of this knowledge. Now, the problem with that, we have
That's
leaders, experience dysfunction systems abroad. Oh, experience functional system, I mean to say, abroad. We go see, we they see how our leaders they always carry themselves go abroad. Recently, we they see pictures of our leaders as they post picture with their children we go
children
study abroad.
graduating abroad. They
Hmm.
go school for outside, but they leave the school here. Some of the school
Hmm.
are even on strike, but they don't
Hmm.
care. Their children, as far
Hmm.
as it's you that
Hmm.
you are lagging behind, their children are moving.
Hmm. That is powerful. Eh?
And at the
And
end of the day, they will come and they will say there is age restriction in employment. You have to be this, you
hmm.
have to be that. So
Hmm.
automatically you are disqualified if you are at this age, as if you reach this age, you are disqualified. So is that one is systemic disqualification. It's not your own will because ordinarily maybe you will be graduating in a 4 years program in Nigeria, you'll be spending 7 years or 6 years, but their
Hmm.
children are there in the fast system. But you are here battling to just ASU strike, lack of finance, accommodation, and other problems, school tuition fee. They will tell you you have to apply for student loan, and the student loan is almost inaccessible. And now they are
Hmm.
even telling you that it's for only undergraduates, postgraduate cannot apply for it. So it means it's only those. If you are done with undergraduate, you just even if you didn't get job, just remain on the street. Don't go and further your education. That's all these things are not helping.
Hmm. Hmm. And this is a very terrible situation. They seek medical care in working countries. This is called now in what they call medical tourism. No be so,
Yes,
Mr. Abdullahi.
that yes, it's medical tourism. And if you check the analysis by UNDP, you will see the report that every year we are losing billions of dollars for medical tourism abroad instead of investing that same amount of money in our healthcare system, but they are taking it abroad.
Hmm. Or more. This kind of thing, it has to take bill. And of course, we also have invest as they invest private wealth in lawful economies. Hmm. They go carry Oyinbo they call this one capital flight. They will carry
Yes,
our
that's
own
capital
money.
flight.
They will carry our own money. Go put for another country. Another country go come dey use our money. They develop their own country. When we dey suffer
And
for here.
so
Hmm.
you are here, you are afraid to invest money because you know the system will not secure your money. So you are investing it somewhere where it will be secured. At the end of the day, it will be secured to the extent that you yourself you cannot get it. That's the irony.
Hmm.
Because most of them they will go and invest thinking that it is a secured and functioning economy. But at the end of the day, the secured and the functioning of the economy will catch up with them to the extent that they may not even have access to it.
Hmm. And we talk about internal leadership, how to understand the value of electricity, security, efficient institution, independent courts, merit-based government. This one, may we unpack them small, small. What is the value
Yeah.
of electricity, Mr. Abdullahi, in your view, in any country all over the world, especially in
Yes,
this
when
modern era? What is the
you
importance
know
and
you
the
can't
value of
even
electricity?
you can't talk about productive economy without electricity because electricity is the backbone of every developing economy. Because that's the
Hmm.
most essential. Because no matter how Nigeria, we have the population, but we don't have the what the working the electricity is not there. Mechanic or a welder that does not learn welding, before he work, he have to buy a generator. Buying fuel is very expensive. So no matter what, if you have electricity, industries will work. The goods from the industry will be cheap and they will be available. The companies will function because most of the companies that are closing in Nigeria, they will tell you there is no efficient electricity. And you generating your own electricity is very expensive. Because now, okay, if you said okay, you are using renewable energy like solar, it's also very expensive for you to maintain. If you say you'll be buying fuel, some of the engines cannot even function with solar. Heavy machines cannot function with solar because you have to bring a lot of resources into it, billions, for you to make the machines to work to function. And then if the company close, what does that mean? All the people working under in that company will what? Will lose their job. That issue of job security is not even there in Nigeria. So when you have, because if you in the 80s, in the early 90s, many people, if you ask them, they will tell you in even in northern Nigeria or even the Abekuta, Ajakuta company, all the industries in Nigeria, they are functioning then. But what suddenly happened? Instead of us improving, we are what? We are going back. The companies are dying. When you don't have electricity, companies cannot function. The industries cannot function. Even the ones that struggle to survive, the goods will be very expensive. That's why they tell you that okay, buying made in Nigeria is very expensive than buying the one imported. So by not providing electricity, you are killing the economy. You are making people to lose their job. You are making the economy less function. So that's why electricity is very important. Even in terms of security, many people will have what they will have lights, street light. You can use instead of using the solar that some people will say that no is very. But people within their houses they need the light for security, but it's not there. Some people in the night you will call someone with his phone is off because he don't have battery. So connectivity also function with electricity. So we need electricity for the economy to grow, for people to get job, for a lot of things. Even the healthcare sector, someone will be in a hospital, you have to be using hand fan to blow the person instead of either having a fan or an air
Hmm.
conditioning. You don't
Hmm.
have, you have to be using, and they will tell you that now we cannot even, our lab cannot even function because there is no electricity. It's either you give money, you go and buy fuel and put in their gen for them to carry out medical examination, maybe blood sample, stool, or anything of that person. So all these things, and likewise the educational sector, you say, okay, now you are teaching people computer or ICT, you are teaching them programming, and then at the end of the day, they will tell you there is no computer because there is no electricity. So all these things are things that what then all they are all interrelated, interconnected. So if you can provide electricity, we'll have jobs, the medical sector will have a little uplift, the education, the security, all they are interconnected. So electricity is very important. It's very, very important.
Hmm. Very important. That is now be say the thing get value well well. Now him they drive many other aspect of the country. How about
Yes, it is
security?
a drive.
Waiting be the value of security? No,
Ah,
because
the,
our people, some
security.
people don't understand. Say security they very very important, and why
They will keep
the
telling
enemies
you
of
that
Nigeria, how the enemies of
as just
Nigeria has ruined the security of Nigeria. What do you think about that? What is the value of security?
security is next, because after the life that you have, the next thing you need is to secure that life. Because if you have life in you, the next thing is what is to secure that life. And then when you secure that life, the next thing is what is to secure what will what enable that your life to function properly. That's why security of life and property. So even if you have electricity, who then you need security to protect it. Even if you have, for example, maybe even if you have a company, you need security for your wealth. And even if you want someone to come and invest in your own economy, you need proper and functioning security system for you to be able to what, to make the system. You definitely need to what, you definitely need to protect that what you will invest. So security is next to life, because apart from you just being alive, the next thing you need security. So security to me and to my understanding, based on what is happening everywhere, every functioning economy in the world entirely, if you look at it, what they prioritize is what, security, because that's what is very important. Because even either you invest, you protect your investment. If you want someone to come and invest, you also need what, you need security to protect that person's wealth. So if that person knows that his wealth will not be protected, he will not come and invest. That's why all this saying direct foreign investment, or investment in this sector, investment in that sector, while you still have high level of insecurity in the country, then you are, you mean you are joking. People will not come and invest real investment. They will look at the other alternatives where there is security. So security is next to life, is very important.
Hmm. Thank you so very much. Then we move to intentional neglect. All right. Not ignorance, but intent. Functional Nigeria threatens power structure. What do they mean by this thing where they talk say functional Nigeria threatens power structure? What do they mean by that? What do you think is the meaning of it, Mr. Abdullahi?
When they say functional Nigerians, then it means educated Nigerians.
Hmm.
Those ones who are active, not the passive ones, not the silent ones. Those ones that know what they are doing and they take action. Just like what we are doing here. So many of them will say, "Ah, these people are trying to bring wahala." So functional Nigerians are those people that are what, active, those people that know what they are doing, that they are knowledge, they have knowledge, they know what they are doing, they are aware of what should be done, and they are asking questions. So they are the people in the corridor of power are seeing them as what, threats. These people are disturbing us. These people are this. That's why they what, when they look at you like that, the next thing is what, you are handpicked, either taken to prison. Before you know, to your trial will take a prolonged period. At the end of the day, they will keep you in jail after some time, until they, when they make sure that yes, they cripple you and they make you irrelevant, then they might release you, or at the end of the day you will remain there. So those educated and enlightened Nigerians that take action, not you that, okay, I know, but I fold my hands and keep quiet. You are not a threat to the system, to the people that want to maintain this system. But you that know and you speak and you take action, you are a functional Nigeria. But if you know you keep quiet, you are not a functional. You are among the dysfunctional Nigeria. Those ones that become complicit to the maintaining the system.
But they also talk about in this mind map, they mention
Yeah.
chaos becoming capital. What do they mean by say chaos become capital for this
That's they are talking about the
our ruiners for Nigeria, enemies of Nigeria? Wetin that thing mean?
because they are talking about the security industrial complex, the people that are benefiting from the insecurity that is happening,
Hmm.
the military contractors, the security contractors, all the people that are enjoying one or two privileges with it because as a result of the insecurity that is happening. So those ones, they make chaos, that's conflict, as what, as capital, because most of these countries in Africa, if you look, not Nigeria or alone, if you look, that most, they will say, okay, most of these developing countries have one or two insecurity issues. So those ones are what, before, when once they mention a particular country, the next thing you will hear is what, people died, attack by bandit, by terrorists. If you look at the content of our news in the conventional media, all what are they telling you about? People kidnapped here, government doing this, government doing all those things. They are what, the people that within the security industrial complex benefiting in one way or the other. You go for special operation, you go for this, you need money to procure this, you need money, you keep complaining, money, 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 money. Right from time of the former president Goodluck Jonathan to this present administration, trillions of naira have went down the drain. And where is it? Is there any equivalent of that amount of money? So the capital here is either they make it a capital as what they invest and gets profit in return, or they make it the capital of the country. That's once the country is mentioned, the next thing is insecurity that will be mentioned. So it's both ways. Either you take it as investment or you take it as the second name of that country. Just like Nigeria, once you mention Nigeria, you have a lot of things to call Nigeria with. As a result of what, those people, that those ruiners at the helm of affairs.
Hmm. This is very, very serious. Then let's move to the next the next point within this mind map, which they very important. They talk about poverty becoming a leverage. They talk about poverty becoming a leverage. Somebody is asking for the link. Yeah, let me quickly send the person the link to the space so that they can join us. I'm talking about
Yes,
Beatrice. I think if we have a female voice here, that would
yes,
be
it will be.
fantastic.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, so we're talking about poverty becoming leverage. How these our enemies of Nigeria, where would they call ruiners? How did they take use poverty as a leverage, Mr. Abdullah?
They are using it just like the way they weaponize illiteracy. You can't go to get quality education. They control your education. Then likewise, they control your stomach.
Hmm.
Because for anybody to think, you must have to eat well first. When you eat, then you start thinking. But once you are hungry, you become like a madman. They say a hungry man is an angry man. So when you are hungry, the only thing you need is what? Food. And that person that will provide you with that food is become your what? Your savior. So they make sure that you are what? You are incapacitated. They make you incapacitated in the essence that, okay, you cannot get all the basic life necessities, all the social amenities that you need. You can't afford quality healthcare. You can't afford good meal. You can't afford quality education. You don't have good electricity. Security is something else. So they make sure that what, everything you can afford. That's the poverty. You have the poverty of the mind, the poverty of the brain, the poverty of the stomach. So they make sure that you are poor in all aspects. So that at the end of the day, they will what? They will use that to control you. In a sane environment, how will someone give you spaghetti and at the end of the day you that's the reason why you vote? Or how will a wrapper, a piece of wrapper, be used for as weapon that will what? Drag you to come and be supporting someone? because a piece of wrapper is something that in a sane environment everybody can afford. That's clothes and that's shelter. That's clothes that you wear it. If you have more than enough, then or you have enough. Why will someone just induce you with just a piece of wrapper? And if you are not hungry, why will someone give you a mudu or maybe a small bag, 10 kg or 5 kg or 2 kg of rice? At the end of the day, you will go and vote for that person. So they make sure you are poor. So that means the 5,000 naira is what somebody will come and shout from morning to evening and claim boss. At the end of the day, the boss might have accident shouting, "Oh, hey, this person is this person, this." Oh, someone will come just because of peanut will come on your mandate. We stand. All these things are things that what they make sure that you are incapacitated economically,
Hmm.
socially, psychologically. So when you don't have that money, that's you don't have the means to what to your needs. They make sure you don't have means to your needs. So then they use it as what leverage. So they will keep using okay like chickens. When you keep them hungry, when they come out, you spread the grains for them. They will come round, and then you catch the one you want to catch. That's how they make us to be. Okay, you keep them hungry. Once the election comes,
Hmm.
you spray the grains. Then they come and will pick the ones who will pick. That's what is
Thank you.
happening, and you control them.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Abdullahi, our correspondent from Abuja. And ladies and gentlemen, um, saints and sinners, and patriots, and those that do not even care about the Nigerian project or the African entities. We have been discussing about the enemies of Nigeria, and we believe that this would indeed interest as much of our people as possible. And we have the presence of one of the Nigerian people. And of course, we respect our females and their participation in public discourse such as this. We welcome you, Beatrice. What you've heard so far, so good. What's your comments? How do you think? And of course, the next bullet point in this mind map that we have here is the fact that the institution, these corrupt entities that are described the enemies of Nigeria, they use weak institutions to control. What's your comment on this, Beatrice? Okay. Okay. For the sake of those that are just joining us, let me just quickly go over the article briefly, and let's just go over it together. The enemies of Nigeria, and this document is an article by a very great writer called Ize Nze Uku Ugezu. I must have murdered that name, but I'm so sorry. It's not intentional. All right. This document argues that Nigeria's primary adversaries are not external factors, but rather its own leadership, who deliberately obstruct the nation's progress. And here is the argument. The number one bullet point is internal sabotage. The core problem is not a lack of knowledge, but a conscious refusal by those in power to implement functional governance. The next bullet point is hypocrisy of the elite. Right? Nigerian leaders are aware of what makes nation works, as evidenced by their personal choices for education, healthcare, and investments abroad. Yet they preside over dysfunctional systems at home. Then we have power structure preservations. A functional Nigeria would threaten the current power structure where chaos, poverty, and weak institutions are exploited for control and personal gain. Now this particular junction, idea we did for that discussion. All right. And of course, talking about the enemies of Nigeria, how they have used internal sabotage, the hypocrisy of the elite, power structure preservation by, of course, using chaos, poverty, and weak institution to exploit the people and control them for personal gain. So, in your view, and of course, we are at the mind map. We are talking about the leverage of these current enemies of Nigeria by their actions. We can see how the recent pictures of these politicians displaying affection and having happy moments after their children graduates from schools abroad, and you now begin to wonder, why do they refuse to build, all right, sterling quality tertiary education in Nigeria when they had the opportunity to do so, serving in various levels of governance? All right. And of course, in this discussion, we are talking about how they use the weak institution to control the people. All right. So, what do you think about this whole situation, Beatrice?
It's an internal issue, it's not external. And that's why it's so persistent and so durable, I guess. I don't know, because of, if we want to now look at how we can dismantle it, we have to look inward, we have to be introspective. And when I say introspective, I mean we have to be introspective as a collective. And most of us don't want to do that, because of once you start, introspecting, you have to dismantle a lot of internal things, and usually it has to happen on a micro level. And when I say micro level, it first has to happen in your household before you start to look out to the larger household, which is our society, if it makes any sense to you guys. So yeah, it's dicey, it's peculiar.
It's dicey and very peculiar to the African space, the African space where you have African leaders who would have all of the opportunities in the world to create systems that work for their people, but they would rather choose not to do so. They would want to
see themselves as part of the people. That's why they see themselves as something independent from the people. I'm not even sure they see themselves as people. If we really want to talk about it, I'm not really sure they see themselves as human beings. So they cannot now how will I say, what they don't have, they can't give. Simply put, right? And then their children, though, the offsprings of these oppressors, they are privy to a different type of reality. So that's why I have even less sympathy for them, because of they know what it looks like, to exist in a system that somewhat works. In a system that recognizes you as a human being, a system that dignifies you. Yet they are not able to internalize that and now want to bring it, to their ancestral land. So I don't really know what to make of it, honestly. Is it that no matter how long they're able to exist in a system that works, and no matter how long they're able to internalize it, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that they want to share it with their fellow Nigerians? I don't know.
And that is very messed up. That thing no makes sense, at all. And we now have the pleasure of having the host of this great media organization,
No,
the
no, no.
Movement
We are all
Radio
we
Chicago.
are all hosts. There's no one host here. We are all hosts. I just wanted to add to what British says is that I
Yeah.
believe that the The key issue is a mentality of idea, or the best way to precise say is the mindset of our elite or educated people. You have to understand something. If they say somebody is a racist, that person who is a racist must have a specific mindset. You understand? Now, if they say somebody is a tribalist, now I'm proud of my tribe, but if you're a tribalist and now you now believe their tribe is more superior than other tribe, you must have a specific kind of mindset. So for our elites and the type of education we received, every one of us that went to school, and I will give you examples of how this is personalized even to us that are speaking. There's a mindset we inherited from the white man that is a counter humanity mindset. It is an anti-humane mindset. And that's the mindset of the supremacy concept. The white man has the belief that everything should be compartmentalized and put in an hierarchy format. You might want to argue that the Africans don't do that, but to a certain degree, before the coming of the white man, we don't. Even when we have a king and we have royalty, we live in a communal atmosphere. You understand? Even when we have king, it's all if the king himself will bow either to the community or to our ancestors. It's not a mindset of the king is better than the sit than the governed. But the white man in his hierarchy of purpose has it that he is at the top of the food chain, and some of us are not even human enough. That's why in the US Constitution they have blacks defined as 3/5 of a human being. So this mindset during colonial era was imbibed into the first group of people that were educated. And when that was those that took over in the 60s, and that was why you saw so much rigmarole, apart from the tribal issue and religious issue we dealt with in our community. Then going further now, then when those in the 60s started having children, which were us, and we were born in the early 70s and 80s. I'm not even talking of those born in the 90s now. They transferred that hierarchy of purpose, you understand, to us. Our fathers transferred it to us because I would say that two keep example I will show you that would tell you this is a fact. One, when we were growing up in Lagos, you will see localities already predetermined by their hierarchy. If you're in Mushin, you're low class. If you're in the mainland, you're low class. If you're in Agege, you're low class. But if you're in Victoria Island, you are high class because you're taking over the quarters of the white man. If you're in Ikoyi, you're high class. You're taking over the quarters of the white man. So over generation, this mindset goes on. And I don't know what year you all went to school. Those of us who went to school in the when did I even go to school? God, in the 80s. I'm talking about university in the 80s, right? There's this thing on campus, like if you are on campus and you are an undergraduate student and you want to date an undergraduate girl on campus, now that girl is a regular girl. But if you want to date someone outside campus, that girl is a bushmate. So that mindset is all we all have as Nigerians, or this hierarchy of purpose of I am better than my neighbor, or whatever it is that makes me better. Could be education, could be money, could be influence, could be royalty. Whatever it is that define me, and that is why we are so crazy about titles, doctor, pastor, to for that distinguished features in our character. It's important to talk about these things so that we start looking at ourselves in the mirror. Imagine we calling girls outside campus bushmeats. I don't know if any one of you after our generation that went to universities in the 80s, whether you guys continue that trend. Of course, they probably did in the 90s, in the 2000s, and any of our audience could tell us what their experience is. You understand? So when you come back with a degree, you are in a different, you're not the same as those that didn't go, or when you come back to your community, you're supposed to be, and whatever you need to do to prove yourself better, you begin to actionalize it. And this has crept into, if we have to look deep and deep into the psychology of our corruption problem and system. So that's the history I've given you. That's the background. Those are two examples. Another good example is the concept of having housemates, housemates in Nigeria. Those who are affluent believe it as what they have learned from the white man, that they need servants to serve them in the house. So they'll go get a girl from the village or a girl from Togo or Benin, an uneducated girl that her entire life will be wasted serving them in the house as an housemaid. And if they're lucky, maybe the husband will sleep with the housemaid. And we have those a few scandals pop up or like that. So a few of our things have been culturally imbibed. When I say culture, not our culture, but we have imbibed something where over the years, decades, I mean, 80s is 10 years, 90s is 10 years, 2010, another 10 years, 2020. So you're counting 10. I've just counted 4 decades. We've inherited 20 decades, 2 decades from our own parent. So all these things add up on how we think, how our mindset is framed. Our mindset as a people is flawed. Now, here is how it has translated into governance, into our reality today. If you believe you're not the same as those you govern, there is no way you're going to push their interest. You're going to push your own interest because you are not the same as them. You are higher than them. Through God ordination, our people very religious. We even believe it is God that has ordained it. It is. So for somebody to be an housemaid, it is okay.
Yes.
And that is why your Tinubu would never have pity on you, because he started from the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. He started from the housemaid category before he was adopted by the Mogaji family and the Tinubu family in Lagos. You understand? So he rose through the system under all sorts of obstacles. So he has become cold, and his heart has become cold. He ain't gonna care for you. He rised up from nothing to something, and that's how we view rising. Unlike, and I hate comparing us to other countries. Unlike other countries that kind of sat down and said, although those ones too started with a flawed concept, the United States, where we say we want to set up a community where we believe that all men are created equal, endowed by some right, by their creator, inalienable right. You see, those are two different concepts. When you come into governance with a mindset, you're superior, you will govern with superior tendencies, which is what we call apartheid, white versus white, you can say, which what we call segregation, which is now a new form of government for us in Nigeria called big manism. I'm the one calling it as big manism, but the textbook name of it is feudalism. Feudalism. So these are the agrarian history of our past, that what has brought us to this stage of terrible. But can we break it? These are questions we can ask ourselves. Is it breakable? Yes, it is. We can break it. We can reorientate ourselves. We can go back to the original African that we were before the coming of the white man. This adaptation of the white man's ways and method of thinking like my idol fella would always say, now all the bad things of this world, now in with the copy problem of inflation, all the bad things we have copied it. So that's part of the reason we believe organizations like the Movement Radio should exist, because there got to be something that talks to us, that makes us see ourselves in the mirror and say, what I did yesterday and I'm still doing today, I shouldn't do it tomorrow. If I wake up tomorrow with God, if there's a grace of God that makes me see the sun tomorrow, and we start doing it little by little, one by one, and then we start having a change. We start connecting with people that are aware of this, because a lot of people are not even aware. A lot of people believe it's okay to have housemaid. No, it's not. You're violating their rights as human beings. But we are not even where we can provide for those who don't have housemaid, not talk of housemaid. So you understand? So we have a long way to go. It's a long, long, long road to freedom, but it got to start one way. And that's why we are arguing that our problem is not democracy, or whether we have democracy, whether we have arrived or not. Our problem is a freedom issue, liberation. Our problem is identification of what a human being is, what a human being should be. You understand? So when the enemies, when we keep saying the enemies within, this is what we are talking about. There's a strong Yoruba proverb that says, Bikule upani today ole pani. We are already dead in the house. That's our problem. And until we fix that dead body, we get accidents. Until we fix that dead body and take the dead out, we're going nowhere. We can shout the white man all we want. We can scream economic theories all we want. We continue to go down. And even if we don't want to act, I'm always arguing that for the sake of the children, born and yet unborn, we have to act. We have to take a U-turn. We have to have a revolving door, a go back, a revolution of the mind. And I hope discussions like these will bring to fore what our hidden flaws are, and then we start to fix it. Someone else can take the mic from there.
Thank you so very much indeed. That was profound. We believe that when we keep having conversations like this, it would indeed facilitate the kind of change that we want. Away from the excuses, because our people are now very, they tend to look at excuses as a defense for their silence. They whip out every excuses as a defense mechanism, for them to remain where they are. All right, without framing out the solution to the problem. And this is where it becomes very interesting, and why organizations like the Movement Radio would have to keep doubling down, bringing to fore highlights and educational content to keep educating the people, make them know, say, now for their hand, their freedom day. Now for their hand, their liberation day. Liberation not they come from nowhere. Nothing will come from sky to come and save us except ourselves. Let's keep up the analysis. We still have quite a number of bullet points from our mind map of this topic, the enemies of Nigeria. Please, Beatrice, if you'd like to chime in, please indicate, and I would not hesitate to pass the mic to you. And of course, to all of us that have joined, you're welcome. You're welcome to the Movement Radio. The enemies of Nigeria is the topic. We are doing justice to this topic, and we have, highlighted quite a number of bullet points. You're welcome, everybody. Please feel free to pick up the mic and ask questions. And of course, the question that you would have to answer when you pick up the mic is, who are the enemies of Nigeria? In your own view, who are the enemies of the of Nigerian entity? Because it starts from identifying them. If you do not identify your enemies, how do you want to resist? How do you want to fight against them? All right, because one of the things that is being said also by proponents of the system is that you cannot play enemy politics. You cannot have hatred towards certain personalities and individuals in the country. You are going to burn the country down if you hate everybody. So, but well, how do we what do you think, Mr. Abdullahi? Oh, Jane, I don't
That's
even hear this kind of thing.
yes. No, it's not only you. It's something that is because I can remember like a couple of months ago when we were opportune to like confront some people that are working within the system regarding an issue that is very like let's say personal to someone. So what they told us is like, look, you have to be very careful. If you said you are going to go with this kind of mindset, at the end of the day, you are going to bring problem to the country. So they will keep telling you that you have to just be friends with the people that are what that are making the system not to work. So and it's general, just like Mr. Alaba said, it's not something that started today. As he's just saying it, because it just remind me one of our conversation with one intellectual, even like some of the issues that even happens to me personally when I was in school in the university. So because we have some lecturers that whenever you ask some certain questions, they will tell you life has its own principles that they set it. But me to me, I believe that it's not those principles that they say life has is just like designed by them, because they will tell you that if you don't do this, you can't do that, and you before you be in my stage, you have to do this. All these things that they are looking like they are superior, you are inferior, and your questions have to be what, like when you ask some certain question, they regard you as mannerless. Even intellectual questions, they will make you, ah no, you are too inferior to be at this stage or to ask this kind of questions. What did you even know? While our questions that what developed from your instinct curiosity, because when you read a lot, you have a lot of questions to a lot of things, and you thinking that okay, you are in an intellectual environment, you post some kind of questions that you require answers from intellectuals and from people that to some extent sometimes they will claim to be like people that are trying to what make the system function, but they are the ones killing the system. Because in the mindset that's why I don't blame most of our graduates, that most of them don't ask questions. It's the system that they were taught in, even in the university, in the polytechnic and the rest. They will make sure they confine you within a certain ideology or a certain psychological prism, that you don't ask questions, and when they give you something, you have to say it from their own perspective. Because that gives me a lot of problem with a lot of lecturers back then. So and it's resulted to a lot of things, which I think maybe it is as it's affect me in one way or the other academically. But to me, I'm satisfied, because me, I have mean way of satisfying myself, because once like I pose a question and you refuse to give me the answer, or I air out my opinion, I feel relief. So take it or leave it. That's my own opinion, and I am human. You are not more human than me. So we have to develop this psyche of okay, always asking questions and having the psychological boldness, not to feel that this person is better than me or this person is what is more superior. And even in this one, if you look at across the system, what Mr. Alaba just said, like the Lagos structure, is not the Lagos, is the entire, even in the housing structure in Nigeria, they will tell you this is federal locus, state locus, this place, all this categorization of houses. It's even telling you that already once you are not in this area, you are not. Even when you go to university, intellectual environment, that they will tell you this is senior staff quarters, this is staff quarters, this is technical staff quarters, all these things, this is security, this quarters, this all this category segregation.
Boys
It's just like you
quarters.
are yes, you are classifying. Then they will tell you, okay, here is a semi this thing that you have to be in this place before you graduate, for you to be in some setting. So all this segregation is what makes people to okay feel like okay, once I occupy this position, I'm not like you, and then that's what making you what less human. To me, those segregation are what is making us less human. That's when our leaders get to a, or when someone gets to a specific office, he behaves that okay, and he believes like okay, I'm better than the people that did not make it to this stage. So it's all these things that is making us to be less human. That's why that human empathy and humility is not in our mind, because the system already, right from your childhood at family level, maybe you start seeing some kind of differences. That okay, these people are better than us. Don't even think you'll fight their child. His father can take you to police station and deal with you. His father is making more money than your father. The food they are cooking is. So from there, they will start pointing some differences for you that is making you what to feel like inferior from that other person. Religious leaders, they will also do it even in the church, in the mosque. You see some kind of maybe you, to me that I personally experienced it once, even in the mosque, that at the end of the day there is a specific place for some people, and they will tell you it's not, there is nothing wrong about it. Look, how will you tell me that even in religious place there are some people that you demarcate certain position for them and there is nothing wrong about it? So what makes them so special? Are they closer to God more than spirituality? Doesn't care about your look, your facial look or anything, or your even the how deep your pocket is. It's your mind, how connected you are. That's why all this religiosity of us segregating people, oh, this person, no, he can't come here because he's not part of us. All these things are what is making us to be yes sir, yes ma, yes sir, yes ma, people that we can't question anything. So we have a lot of issue. And please, for our sister, I have this question always, that I wanted to always ask, but some women, when you ask, they try to run away. Please, I'm sorry to like, I'm not looking, but how can we please bring in our ladies? Because once we are discussing politics, liberation issue, most at times the ladies run away. While we can still remember a lot of our women, our mothers, our grandmothers that fight, like the great Ransom Kuti is one of the people that will keep emphasizing. And then we look around, even within the, whether you are from the north, you are from any other country, we can mention a lot of names. Not the feminism struggle that you keep the misunderstood feminism that women are fighting today. Let's, okay, the real okay, please, how can we bring in women into this fight? Because men alone cannot fight it. We are all humans, we have to fight it all along. But most of the times when you bring these issues, some ladies will say, ah, I'm not interested in politics. But you are interested in your life. You are interested in the life of your brother. You are interested in the life of your child. So please and please, I want to, if you can advise me, please, or you can use the platform to advise. So people can, how can we bring in women? Because well, the population,
Yes,
we are majority women.
Mr. Abdullah, I think we want to get a response from our sister. She's been indicating that she wants to respond to your question. Yeah, please proceed, Beatrice.
I believe that women are as um not as enthusiastic in getting into politics because of, I mean, historically we've been belittled, patronized, subjugated to ridicule, abuse, and all these type of things. So when a woman should like, when a woman comes and she sees that a bunch of people are having political discourse, and she's seeing that it's predominantly men that are having this discourse, in her mind, she's immediately telling herself that, oh, it's not a safe space for her,
Mm.
So in my own case, I feel like I'm coming from a place of privilege whereby, in spite of my anxiety and fear, I can still be like, okay, I'll still try and be part of the discourse, because at the end of the day, I have some set of privileges. But the average Nigerian woman doesn't have those privileges that I have. So she's not going to put herself on the line to potentially be subjugated to abuse, ridicule, and all those things that I just mentioned. Anyways, yeah. So I think it's up to men to also show that, no, this is a safe space. We are different from what these other political parties, we understand that a lot of bad connotation have been, associated to men. But we are here to change the narrative. It is up to you guys to show women that it's actually a safe space to have such political discourse, and that they can participate and also contribute. If not, they'll continue to refrain from participating. That's the reality, I feel like.
So in other words, you believe that in every public discourse, those involved and participating in that public discourse must frame it in a way that makes it welcoming to women. Is that what you're saying, essentially?
I mean, in a way that makes it welcoming to anyone that's marginalized. And it just so happened that women are, marginalized. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Abdullahi, would you like to continue? Have you gotten the feedback that you need?
Yes, I have gotten the feedback, but me, I don't know how we can find it. Because this is something that I have experienced for a very long period of time. Because back then, even when we were in the university, I'm someone that I will buy newspaper, either the Guardian, the Vanguard, or Daily Trust at a time. Then I'll go and then I'll pick, because sometimes when they will say that, some of them will see that some of them even like said that I like arguing like the most of the time, because I will maybe meet some guys who start arguing based on some of the headlines and the issues like that. Sometimes we even dive into some historical facts and the rest. So anytime I try to engage a lady in that kind of discussion, even personally, not even bringing men close to it, so she will like, no, no, no. But when you want to discuss films, that's entertainment, they will give you time. And I'm someone that I'm not too acquainted to movies and the rest. And I love music, but I love intellectual, because I need something that will always give me reasons and questions. But even on a personal level, most of them personally, not even in a group, personally, they don't want. I don't know what brings results to that fear. If it's something that we can work on, maybe me personally, I can start maybe changing my method of approach or anything of that nature.
That makes sense. Maybe you might need to change your approach or get interested in what they are interested in, such as you can use it.
Liberation. That's what I wanted to say. Some things are seen as, oh, that is solely feminine, and this is masculine, and all these type of things. And our approach to things is staunchly different, just because of how we've been, conditioned. That, oh, this is more of a feminine trait, and this is more of a male trait, and all these type of things. That's another thing. And then some things are seen as lowbrow and highbrow, and usually the things that are seen as lowbrow is associated to women, and the things that are seen as highbrow is associated to men. So that also doesn't help. I believe he just mentioned something about, he prefers having intellectual conversations. I believe that all conversations are intellectual, no matter the topic, because you have to use your intellect to treat the topic at hand. So it doesn't matter what you're talking about. It matters, what lens the lens from which you're seeing the topic is what actually matters, not the topic itself, I believe. So that's another thing to consider. And that's another thing that intimidates women in partaking in all these like political discussions, because of it's treated in such a rigid way. It's not flexible enough. It's not fluid enough.
Thank you
So
so much.
rigidity of conversation also is an issue. When conversations are rigid, not flexible, is not laid back, it's kind of a push off or a turn off. for most of
Yes.
our women, of our ladies.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Abdullah, any further
Yes, we can
intervention?
just continue. Let's just continue. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so very much. And of course, let's move on in the mind map of this concept as we welcome the African Wahala. After this section, we'll pass the mic to the African Wahala. And this particular section talks about organized corruption. Organized corruption. And we'll talk about, not accidental, but organized. The corruption we did this country, no be the kind corruption we be say, they just they do them anyhow. They calculate them and they get many members with roles to play in the organized crime. Now the thing where this thing they talk with that, and we have
Yes, actually.
sustained. What do you say?
I said actually it's not it's a systemic issue. The corruption is organized in the sense that they make everybody involved in it, so
Now
that
so
everybody will at the end of the day you will be tinted with one or two things. Because if maybe you are complaining about the police that maybe is standing by the roadside collecting the 20 naira, or they will say that okay, at the end of the day you will go and report. Maybe someone somewhere is also benefiting from this. So and then the driver also that is giving him to, he will tell you, I don't want them to waste my time.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
Ibukun, Abdullah is right on that. The way if we say organized, we are pointing finger, oh, it's them that are doing. What they did is that they have made it systemic. That means once they start it, the rest of you have no choice but to partake in it, because they create a sense of obstacle that you have to cross for your survival. So though it's organized, you might want to use the term organized, like in organized crime, but it is worse than organized. It is now systemic, whereby whether you like it or not, you have no choice. You got to pay somebody before you go through the airport. You got to pay somebody before you get a license for your land. You got, it's, I don't even know the word. Maybe our audience would have a better word to describe. So, but when we
Yeah.
time
It,
meets
it, it
organized,
they make it participatory.
oh yes, that's the word. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and for that clarity. And well, that is quite revealing. So, and now why we dey here? Now why we dey always try to make this thing to break them down well, so that we go understand, because many of our people they know say something they wrong, but they don't just know how they want to take explain them. And it is the reason why platform like this we go break them into granular details. So selective law enforcement sustained by policy failures, weaponization of state institutions, rhetoric versus moral commitment. Any
Yeah.
comment about this? Yeah,
Before African Wahala goes, let me quickly comment on that. You see, that
yeah.
is what makes it a systemic That's what turns it into something like an apartheid, a system of governance, because it is backed up by the law. It is selective. Some are covered by the law, some are not. You understand? So that's what makes it very dangerous. It's a system of government feudalism. It's like apartheid, but it is worse than apartheid, because in this case it's invisible. It is backed by the courts. It is backed by your government. It is backed, by the rhetoric, by the weaponization of state. Look at, for example, the police will be, if a rich man wants to deal with you in Nigeria, they will get the police to come and arrest you, the one that should defend you. They will get the judge to sentence you. So this is really systemic. And that's why we are saying the system must fall, must crash. We must start fresh. Because if you look at the systemic aspect of it, that's where the problem lies, because it is sustained by policy failures, policies that those in charge deliberately refuse to carry out. You know, it is selective on who the law is enforced on. If you're my political enemy, I'm coming after you. You see, it is also weaponized state institution. You now use the police as a militia to enforce injustice. You know, the way the likes of Daly were picked up, the likes of Showore were picked up, and all the any critic of the government. And it's all about rhetoric. There's no moral commitment to the safety of the people. None. It become I use there. So African Wahala can go next.
Absolutely, I am there. Um, the African Wahala, what's your comment so far so good? Based on what you've heard, yeah. The African Wahala, are you there? Yeah, you're not audible. Hmm. The African Wahala is having some network um, difficulties. Maybe you have to drop and come back. So I think that will fix that. So yeah, let's proceed in the breakdown. We have economic sabotage, all right? Economic sabotage, deliberate sabotage. That is, they use market, as the market things, as governments and individuals, they do their business, all right? They sabotage that business of individuals one way or the other. As they complain, say market no move, get customer as they get customer before, you know, and some other things that you have noticed, maybe say no good for the country. All right. This thing is done deliberately, all right, to make life, uneasy for you. All right. Profit from import dependence, Many experts talk say we too they bring in goods into the country. We know they produce. And that thing they reduce the quality and the strength of our currency. All right. Subsidy fraud, currency manipulation threatens entrenched interest. All of these things talk about economic sabotage, because talking about subsidy removal will happen when this our grandpa enter power. You now see how the cost of commodities, everything just rise, because everything is dependent on petrol, because many of these goods are moved using petrol vehicles. And of course, before it gets to you that you are buying it, the cost of transportation would beef up that price. All right. No, and government they talk say they don't remove the subsidy. But in the actual sense, we can't they see say e get how that they take they pay this subsidy one mago way. Because the recent report can show saying about 7 trillion naira nine they use for waiting they call energy security expenses, which is like times two of the subsidy where government pay during the time of Buhari. So people can't they ask, say, wetin come be the why you can't remove the subsidy? So we can't buy fuel in a higher price, but you still they pay this subsidy one way or the other. And who are those collecting this money?
You will know the answer to this question. They're just there to make money for themselves, and whatever they can create to make money for themselves, they will create it. If they have to tax the oxygen you breathe, they will tax it. So that's a fact. So when we go back and forth on this type of conversation, we should already know those you're dealing with. You cannot expect criminals to be making laws and you expect justice. That's the problem Nigeria has, and these are conversations we must have and confront each other with. You understand? So when they say deliberate sabotage, that's another Nigerian problem. First of all, I don't know how we are going to do that. We have to change our mindset of what governance is. Governance is not that the white man has killed a big elephant and we all have to take our knife to go cut our meat out of that elephant. The national cake concept. This orientation has to be imbibed somehow into Nigeria. And when Nigerian political parties are talking about running, they have to start talking about the concept of death penalty for economic sabotage activities, because that's all we are practicing and that's what we are calling democracy. And until we change those vocabulary terms and said this is a crime against the state, it's not only coup plot or attempting to overthrow a government alone that should be a crime. The crime itself is in the padding budget, economic sabotage. Look at, go around the whole world, developed countries. It don't matter what system of government they are practicing. In the US that have their so-called liberal democracy, you don't pay IRS. Oh my God. Let you be Al Capone. In fact, that was what got Al Capone to go to jail. IRS evasion. They couldn't even get him on all the murders he did, all the killings. But the mere fact that what he belongs to the public, you're keeping it. The state that I am now, 2 governors are in jail. 2 governors, Rogoyovich and Dan Ryan. I think Dan Ryan's dead. You understand? The same way, if you go to China, you go and steal public money and see what happens in China. So why can't we incorporate that into our laws and system and demand it of our politicians? Because we are mumus. I'm not saying don't bring up tax. I'm not saying don't remove subsidy. But what I want to see is you touch that money and you find yourself in a coffin. That is if we give you your dead body. That's how you build a nation. Not that you just kill people because they are opponents to your government or you don't like them. That's why a lot of people have died in Nigeria. Nobody have really died for the real principle, for the real thing. You know, let African Wahala talk. Have you sit back?
Yes, we still anticipate the arrival of the
I thought he's
African.
back. That was his
Yes,
message.
I can see him at the listener section. I'm sending him the mic. He's yet to come to the speaker section. We anticipate your feedback. But while we wait for you to join us, the next bullet point is education and healthcare neglect. Still talking about the enemies of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, you know, how they neglect education and healthcare. You know, well-educated population questions authority. Population wey sabi wetin dey happen. Politician wey be say they get knowledge of how all of these things dey work. Na them dey challenge authority. But population wey no sabi wetin dey happen, wey be say everything they just dey confused. The confusion e enter their body so they don't go through wetin oyinbo dey talk disorientation. That is, they don't know wetin dey do them, but they know say something dey wrong somewhere. All right, because when you have an educated population, they go fit ask politician wetin dey happen, how una take spend this money, how una take, we want you to give account. You know, only educated population fit challenge their politician like that. All right, and we have healthy population resist exploitation. This one is deep, because if you are sick, you are not healthy, you know, no chop better food, how you want take so say you want fight for your oppressor, you want fight your oppressor because you are hungry and you are healed, you don't have good health, you no get strength, how you want take resist? And this thing that they do systematically. It is not by chance say people dey hungry, and we have over 140 million hungry Nigerians. It is not by chance. It's not by chance. These things are done deliberately. All right. When people are the life expectancy in Nigeria now is 49 years old, the lowest in the world. The lowest in the world, even worse than Sudan. So when you don't have an healthy population, they no go fit fight for their right. And you have public schools decay,
I'm sorry,
private. Okay, yeah,
sorry.
please
Even
proceed, Mr. Abdullahi.
this this issue of healthy is not even only the healthy of the body, including the mind and the brain. Because the problem is that some of us are having some psychologically we are not healthy.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
that's
hmm,
what is
hmm.
this also referring
Mentally
to,
also,
because
the mental health also
yes,
matters. Hmm,
matters.
hmm.
Because sometimes you eat. Some of us is overfeeding that makes us to be mentally insane, while some of us is lack of food that is making us to be mentally insane, while some, because you are exposed to a lot of things, then you'll be mentally insane. Sorry, to for you to be able to question what is happening, because that's why we keep saying this is normal, this is normal, this is normal, while it is not normal. People dying, you make it normal. How? So the healthy is not only the physique, the mental also comes into question.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi. Mental health matters a lot, not just physical health. And many of our people, all right, are not mentally stable. Mm. And it is mental strength where you go feel fight your oppressors, your enemies. Maybe we talk am like that. Now mental strength, now you go take fight your enemy. You can't fight your enemy without mental fortitude. All right. We have public schools declare, private flourish for elites. Wetin this one mean? That is, we all know wetin dem dey call public school now. Public schools in primary school, in secondary school, and we see how the thing just dey go from bad to worse.
No, what has let me take that one. What has happened is that in this our quest to be better than our neighbor, we have allowed what should belong to the public to decay. Everything that belongs to the public, that belongs to you and I, we have destroyed it. Public school destroyed, public university destroyed, and we are creating alternative of private, and those ones are flourishing. So we're diverting money that should go to our public institutions. We're diverting it into private. Guess who are the owners of those private? Our friends, the friends of the political elites and their friends, the political elites and their friends. So we keep destroying public education and not investing in the most powerful resources we have, the people. What makes China strong today? It's its people. What makes India strong today? It's its people. But the very one we should invest on, which is the public, we keep creating private this, private that, privatization, private this. And the funny thing about privatization and private school and private elite is that they are not, you would think they are owned eventually by Nigerians, but they are owned by corporations. Corporations are usually belong to the whites, to the Westerners. So it will surprise me if tomorrow comes, I hear that, oh, Dangote, 40% or 50% of Dangote shares belong to the United States. Because this is how privatization work. It's on the altar of who can buy it. And if you're poor and you have one rich man among you, it's just a matter of time before that rich man goes poor and someone else will take your property you should have invested in the people, in their schools, in their hospitals, in what is public, in the beaches. You're selling it all out to private cannot hold on to wealth for that long. I mean, where are the Rockefellers today? So these are the mistakes our educated elites are making following the white man. If only they could listen to fella and open their eyes and take their eyes out of the book so they don't fall inside gutter. That's the problem we're having. You know, hospitals, everything. The state has no intention to serve you, to give you nothing. It's just what can we buy, what can we sell, you know. I used to know a guy back in those days. His political philosophy is Pinkmini. If you bring a single piece of paper onto the table, he will ask you, how do we divide it? If you bring a plate of rice, báwo la ṣe máa pín? Pínpín ni. The guy's philosophy is pínpín ni, and that's the philosophy of our politicians. Every resources that they should hold on to, that we should hand over to the next generation. We should be thinking of a country in the terms of 100 years, 200 years. 100, 200 years. Where would my children be in 200 years from now? Bro, no, we have people who, okay, this is the only inheritance they have for the future generation. How do we privatize it? Let us share it. That's a sick mindset. That's a flawed mindset. That's an insane mindset. And that's why we're saying we are a response to Nigerian insanity. We have gone mad. We just don't have a doctor to diagnose the madness yet. Go on.
Thank you so very much for that brilliant submission, sir. And well, let me give us a short bonus, just to give us a sense or a good idea of how messed up things have become when it comes to private and public school situation. And let's use the universities. From 1960 to 1991, there is zero recognized private universities. Zero from 1960 to 1991. Now, guess what? From 1991 to 2025, we went from 3 private universities in 1999, from 1991, to 149 private universities in 2024. And your guess is as good as mine. Who are the owners of these universities?
Despite that, we still have 20 million children out of school. So who is fooling who?
Mr. Salisu, what do you think about that?
You know,
We are in
in
trouble.
their own cycle, they call educational sector a gold mine.
Hmm.
You just bring people into just a four corner space. You keep them there in the name of you are educating them, but you are not educating them. You are what? Mining gold, because you are just collecting their money.
Hmm.
So that's why, if you look at, for some of us that are privileged to teach in some of the private schools, so you will know what is happening there. When
Hmm.
you bring an innovative way to make sure that okay things works, some of them will tell you, don't be wasting your time. Let them just pay the money. That's just it. You don't.
It's crazy.
And sometimes when you are trying to build a collective of like a young minds, that you are trying to like educate them properly in the way that they should be educated, not just by reading the English and then all the nonsense. I don't know, but you are trying to liberate them right from. They will start telling you, no, this one is not part of the curriculum. You have to teach them what you see from the curriculum, what they gave you, and explain it in a way that it will not make them to resist anything. So
Hmm.
all these things are things that keep happening, and you see how even in Abuja here,
Hold on, Abdullahi.
how
Ibukun. African Wahala said if you have the YouTube link, is there a way you can send him the YouTube link so he can come on the studio?
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
if there's any
He's
other
already
person,
watching us on YouTube. But what he needs is to the link to come into the studio with us here.
Yeah. That's, I think that's how he gets. I don't know. You are the technical expert.
I'll
Yeah, you see,
I'll
I
send
just
you
saw
the
the message. If you have a link here
yes.
for YouTube, that might. So if you have the YouTube link, the link for him to join the studio, so you can, because I think
I'll
it's
forward.
WhatsApp is not working. Continue, Abdullah. I apologize for interrupting
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Please proceed, Mr. Abdullah.
Because if you look at it in the real sense, you see, even in Abuja here, entirely from last session to this session, if you look, you count the number of days that public school opens and you count the days that it's almost, if not 60-40, it's 50-50. Because last time, before the school closes, the while private schools are done with their exams during the holiday, that's when the public school resumes the strike, call of the strike, or suspend it for a particular period of time. And they come, and after 2 weeks they run exams, and then they say they will do continuous term. Then the term continues. After 3 weeks into the new term, when the private schools have resumed, they are thinking they are your friends, you think you are going together with them again, then another strike, then the school close again, then you keep going. That's why when you are in a private school, once you see a student that they brought to the school, maybe secondary school or maybe primary school, and then at the end of the day, what you expect him to know and he don't know, the first thing you ask him, which school are you from? Your expectation is that he is coming from a public school because that's where the rot is. And then if you also look at the private school, they are not teaching anything different from that what you think you are getting quality. No, it's not, there is no quality. And even the quality assurance, once they go around to make sure they check things how they are done, all they are after is settlement. This is, I'm not saying it because I'm saying it based on experience. So these are things that they just call it gold mine. They mine their gold, they put the money in their pocket, and they move.
Wow, this that is quite interesting. And yes, I'm about to send you the link. African Wahala. Please check your inbox on X. I'm sending you the link right away. Please take a look at the link. Um, sorry. I have to multitask here, so it's a little bit some. This one is asking for password from my hand.
In the technical part, Abdullah can continue with the production.
So yeah. So we are at the level of in the mind map. Teaching hospitals collapse, officials seeks foreign treatment. We know how that works every single time in Nigeria, where even at the slightest headache, they will jet out of the country to go treat to go treat their headache, leaving the public health infrastructure dilapidated. Really, and you'll be wondering why can't they fix our own public health care such that they can use the public health facility in the motherland? But
Let me
it
give you
seems
an
that
answer to that. They won't until you drive them all out. The whole
hmm,
system has to be, we have to start fresh. We have to sit down and say,
hmm,
this is what we, you see, this system is not sustainable. And it will continue like that until Nigerians come to the consciousness that they need to remove this style. They themselves need to change. There need to be a U-turn. But this calling on God, prayers and fixing it, let's just do the next election and all these things, and these systemic issues are there. We're not in the next 100 years, not the same place. We in fact we're walking, we're going back. We don't
hmm.
put everybody for reverse. We are now in reverse. We're going back in time. While the rest of the world is counting 2026, we are in 1826.
Hmm. we are so backward, and it's scary to me when people tend to troll Nigeria that if the rest of the world stands still for the next 20 years, Nigeria will still be playing catch up. That thing they enter my head I say, which kind, you know, terrible situation be this? Say if the whole world stands still, if they don't move again, and they just say make Nigeria catch up, Nigeria no go still catch up. And this is quite humbling for me. That when are we going to get it right? And many of the things that is wrong with us is not even rocket science. It is something that can be fixed with funds that we have, and of course the collective will, and of course political will of the people. But we are still, many of these private schools that we are talking about, they are owned by religious institutions. So they use public money to gather funds, then privatize. I used to wonder, why would you privatize what you establish using the collective resources of everybody? You call your members, they donate, you build a university, only for you to privatize it and make the price, unaffordable for your members. Isn't that wickedness? Isn't that one say that one na oyibo na colonialism na im make dem do that kind of wickedness for their members? Is it oyibo man that orchestrates that wickedness for you to use collective resources and you privatize it such that your members that participated in the contribution cannot contribute? They cannot afford those schools. And many of the missionaries that brought religion to us, they brought all of these schools. It was free of charge, and the education was qualitative. The education qualitative. You still have St. Finbar's. It still they exist today. You have King's College. You have many of these schools, Baptist Academy. These are schools that were brought by missionaries for free, only for the converts of these, religious organizations, for them to start their own religious body and make it a commercial enterprise. What a shame! All right, what a shame! And these are part of the enemies that we are talking about. Enemies that would weaponize people's ignorance against them. All right, and that is quite messed up, if you ask me. I think this is not supposed to be. Let's move on in the. I think this will most likely be the only, because this article is very is wide. So the last section is deliberate restraint. Um, that is the last part of this this article, the enemies of Nigeria. And we have had to break it down to the granular details, and we are so excited by the feedback that we have gotten from the Nigerian people. So talking about the last part, the last section of that mind map, it's very important we also highlight it. All right, the broken system. All right, the core problem, the system is not about, the fault in the people. It is the system that is indeed at fault here. All right, system exists, will is missing. The will of the people is missing, but the system is there. All right, we have, the whole idea of country matters less than privileges. All right, when all of these our so-called elites have elevated themselves, all right, above the people, they absorb themselves from the realities of the people. All right, they run on 24 hours diesel. They go and install solar panels that absorb them
They
from
do
the
that.
general darkness that is going on in the country. They sleep very comfortably not knowing that others, other members of the society are suffering, extreme suffering. All right. Enemies remain at the table of power, which is very, 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 very sad. These are the core problems. All right. And we must indeed recognize the enemies of Nigeria and knows the role that they are playing actively in this whole ruining of Nigeria. And we are dealing with ruiners. We have not minced word from this side of things. And we have asked repeatedly, who are the enemies of Nigeria in your own view? You can drop your comment. I have sent you the link, the African Wahala. If you check your inbox on X, you get the link there to join us in this. Oh, the African Wahala is here. So sorry about that. I think let's hear from the African Wahala. Uh, I think I have brought you are on the stage already. The African Wahala, can you hear me right loud and clear? The African Wahala? Wow. I think you still have this audio issue. I think it is your device. I think I strongly believe it's your
Is
device.
he in this? Is he in the studio? Maybe we just need to add him into the studio.
Yes, it's in the studio based
I don't
on.
know if you can hear me now.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, we can hear you now.
yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, Ibukun, I just sent you another article. You might want to look at that if since you're finishing with one. I will
Okay.
forwarded it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, the African Wala. Can we have you now? Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so many things have jumped to me in this conversation, but I'm just going to quickly add to the part where we were discussing about how we now have a systemic culture of corruption. That we have graduated from having just behaviors from few individuals to a wide range behavior from majority of the people that get to the helm of affairs. And even good people, a lot of good people, so-called good people that are not really solid on what they stand for. When they get to the helm of affairs, because of our culture of tolerating being silenced, they conform to become bad administrators when they get to the helm of affairs. So our system of corruption has graduated from an individual level to being institutionalized. Because now, like many people said earlier, you want to get your driver's license, you have to bribe. You want to get your passport, you have to bribe. In fact, you've registered for your voter's card. If you don't go and get your voter's card on time, they can sell it to someone else. And if you go there and you complain and you are sounding too knowledgeable, they can harass you. They can violate you. They can even use the police to do you bad and throw you behind bars. So this is the kind of country that we have now. And that's why we are here, to resist this system. Although it has been existing for so long, even before some of us were born. And that makes it really entrenched and difficult to resolve. But we still have no choice. We have that obligation, especially those of us that stand on a conviction, to resist this system. And when the sister was speaking earlier about, she was responding to women not wanting to participate in elections or the electoral process or anything political in this system. It's because of our culture. It boils down to a culture that we've somehow adopted in the last few centuries. It's the same thing. It's the same way that we've adopted a culture of corruption. That is the same way we adopted a culture of just, I don't want to say misogynism or all these But we just don't treat people, our fellow human beings, with respect and dignity. And that's why if you look at the cases, some recent popular cases, we had this lady, Tracy, with Umai. We saw those allegations. We saw Natasha Akpoti, her allegations with, in fact, Natasha is the perfect example because she's a top female politician in Nigeria. And even with her political status, we saw how she was treated. We saw how she was mocked. I'm not a supporter of Natasha, but I would support her against any injustice she had faced, especially in the hands of Akpabio and the Senate. We saw how even Umahi put his mouth in the conversation and he was making a reference to Natasha when talking about Tracy. Because these people have no respect for women, not just women, they have no respect for anybody. They don't even have respect for themselves. And they didn't just become people that have no self-respect. It's because many of them had to conform to the system in the helm of affairs that requires them to be evil. Because if they are not evil, their political careers will not last long. And they need their political careers to escape poverty that is affecting the majority of us. So we are in an intertwined situation where the real enemies of Nigeria, obviously, the number one candidates are those in the political administration. The political administrators are the number one enemies of Nigeria. However, even us, the regular victims of Nigeria, we are often complicit in being enemies of Nigeria because many of us, excluding myself, aspire to become these wicked administrators. Many of our fellow victims, they look up to these wicked politicians. They look at their flashy lifestyles. Their children are schooling in universities abroad. Whenever they have a cold or they sneeze, they jump on a private jet straight to London. They come back to Nigeria. They have mansions. They have bulletproof cars. They have convoys. They have private security guards that are our police and our soldiers. They are the ones providing private security for these guys. So that aura of oppression that these guys have, a lot of us that are victims, excluding myself, we look up to that and we want to be like that. So it makes it a continuous process where the oppressors that have conformed to a habit of wickedness, once they get into political administration, they pass the baton of oppression to their fanboys and fangirls that look up to them. And their fanboys and fangirls are mostly our fellow victims. So it makes it so difficult to resolve the problem. Bottom line is, these guys are the main enemies of Nigeria, but we can also be complicit and become enemies of Nigeria when we look up to these evil people. So that's just going to be my contribution for now. I'm very happy to be a part of this conversation. Thank you so much for giving me the mic, the opportunity. I will tone it down. I'm not going to go berserk and be roasting them the way I usually do. I'll tone it down because I want it to be a civil conversation. And I appreciate you for letting me in. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Yes, you want to chime in? Movement Radio Chicago.
No, I just wanted to tell African Wahala that anytime he wants to, him and Breaches, anytime they want to join us in the studio, they have VIP access. Just letting them know. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to let African Wahala know that that they have VIP access. Continue, Buku. I
Thank
sent
you.
you a new one on how our people themselves too they contribute. So I don't know if we could run that with the people or whichever one you guys decide.
Yeah, we can briefly go. You can go through it in depth. It does. I think that article should not be more than 30 minutes of analysis, really.
Okay.
So I think we
Yeah,
can
but if
squeeze.
there's I think there are some people on the X, if they will need a microphone, don't forget because you're running a multiple stations. You got to keep checking who needs what and what. You got to check on X, check on. I just checked on Instagram now, and there were some people there, about 7 or 8. So I just sent them a greeting that we are not ignoring them, that we see them joining us, and we thank them for joining us. I've not checked Facebook yet, but and I've not checked YouTube yet, but at least I'm checking X and Instagram. So just keep announcing to people that they're not being ignored. We just have multiple things open, so it's hard to kind of follow up in details. Go ahead,
Yes,
Ibuku.
absolutely. I would prefer if that article is in PDF format, so that we can use the mind map and the summarizer. But well, we can just project it from the article itself. So we just do the reading and stop intermittently to give some analysis of it. But well, while that is being sorted, I've got one video here that I think would interest us while that is being sorted. Um, just a moment. Let me see if I can share the screen. And that video, I think, you'll find it interesting. All right. Um, okay. Okay.
No, we make the protesters fight each other. Now you're talking. Create 8 social pages. Done. Make each page represent a different animal group. Easy. Tell the fast animals the slow animals are holding them back. I like it. Excellent. Make every group believe they're a victim.
Can you believe this? They're blaming us now? This is ridiculous! Who posted that?
I don't care. I'm responding.
We were marching together yesterday!
That was before I saw what your group thinks of us.
That's not what we're protesting!
I don't care anymore.
Where is everyone? At home arguing.
The protest is dying.
But nothing changed.
Arguments continue between animal groups across the kingdom. Protest attendance has dropped significantly. The plan worked. Of course it did. Why does it always work? Because hungry animals united are dangerous, and hungry animals divided? Manageable. 3 days ago, we were all marching together. Now we're fighting each other. Then what's the plan? We don't fight the protest. We don't? No, we make the protesters fight each other.
Let's
Now you're
just
talking.
one more time.
Create 8 social pages. Done. Make each page represent a different animal group. Easy. Tell the fast animals the slow animals are holding them back. I like it. Excellent. Make every group believe they're...
Can you believe this? They're blaming us now? This is ridiculous! Who posted that?
I don't care. I'm responding.
We were marching together yesterday!
That was before I saw what your group thinks of us.
That's not what we're protesting!
I don't care anymore.
Where is everyone? At home arguing.
The protest is dying.
But nothing changed.
Arguments continue between animal groups across the kingdom. Protest attendance has dropped significantly. The plan worked. Of course it did. Why does it always work? Because hungry animals united are dangerous, and hungry animals divided? Manageable. 3 days ago, we were all marching together. Now we're fighting each other. Then what's the plan? We don't fight the protest. We don't? No, we make the protesters fight each other. Now you're talking. Create 8 social pages. Done. Make each page represent a different animal group.
That is the third time I'm going to be playing it, but I think we got the gist. Mr. Sally, do you think this video sort of paints a picture of what we have been talking about since?
Uh, this one is like the full message in a short clip, just trying to tell you that all we have been saying, this is what it means. Someone somewhere is just sitting and control. He is the director, and someone is the producer, and then most of us are just the, we don't know. Some of us know, some of us don't know, that we are just like acting a drama on a stage, and they dictate what they want to see and what they want it to happen, and they already know the result. That's why when you are in this one will say, ah, this is my political party, this is my region, this is my this is my that. At the end of the day, all of us are singing and fighting each other, while the real enemy, just as the article said, that's the enemies of Nigeria. In the article it said what, comfortably sitting in what, in an office, in a corridor of power, while the big victims are there what, struggling within themselves. The first thing you look, who is this person? This is, I, the Igbo people are saying this, the Yoruba people are saying this, the Muslim, all those things are what, are not, are irrelevant. Just like the way Dele Farotimi will always say that, do not fight what is their war, not your own war. So let them fight it. Allow them to fight it, not you fighting the war for them. But then most of us behave like we are ignorant. But to some extent, is what is that intent, that we, intentional decisions that we take, that we don't want to be active, and those that are want to be active in the what, in the cause, just like our brother African Wahala said, that those that decide to be active, they what, they go out as they want to also be in the same seat, so that they will just be in, they will enjoy the same privilege of what, oppressing others.
Okay. I was thinking I should read this article and then you and Abdullah would do the mind map of it. What you guys say?
That's fine. That's
Okay,
fine.
let's
That's
quickly.
that's cool.
Okay, let's quickly get this going. This is, I don't know who the author is. I apologize for to the author. I don't know why I didn't get who the author is, but this was written by a very smart Nigerian. How the masses enable their own oppression. So, as tempting as it is to place all the blame on the political elite, the deeper and more uncomfortable truth is this: the fault also lies with our people. Not because Nigerians are powerless, but because they do not know how powerful they truly are. Or worse, they know and refuse to harness that power. In a true democracy, which we don't have, power does not reside in Aso Rock, Government House, or the National Assembly. It resides with the people. Political offices are not thrones, they are assignments. It's not a monarchy. It's a job. Elected officials are not kings, they are employees. They are meant to answer to you, the people, not rule over you. That's why we keep calling them our rulers, our rulers. We should call them the ruiners. What Nigeria is experiencing today is not an accident. It's not accidental. It is a reflection of what the citizenry has tolerated, normalized, and in some cases celebrated. The condition of a nation mirrors the demands of its people. The insecurity, failing healthcare system, polarized education, epileptic power supply, and collapsing infrastructure persists not because Nigeria lacks the capacity to fix them, but because citizens have quietly accepted them as the norm. And once a people accept suffering as normal, leadership has no incentive to change anything. This would be a different conversation if Nigeria were poor in resources. But Nigeria is not. Nigeria is wealthy, rich in oil, gas, solid minerals, fertile land, human capital, and international goodwill. We do not merely generate revenue, We borrow heavily from the international community. Yet, these borrowings rarely translate into improved living conditions. Instead of solving structural problems, they are often shared among political elites while citizens clap, praise, and defend the very people mortgaging their future. The very people mortgaging their future. Now, wow. Now, a tragic Nigerian habit is the culture of adjustment rather than confrontation. A tragic Nigerian habit is the culture of adjustment rather than confrontation. When electricity fails, the response is not collective pressure on government but private survival. Buy a generator, install solar, improvise. When education fails, people manage the system. They collect certificates without competence and pretend to be graduates while knowing the system never truly prepared them. That's why we see in their conversations. When healthcare collapses, citizens resort to prayers, chemists, self-medication, or crowdfunding instead of demanding functional hospitals. Insecurity is treated with the same lukewarm resignation. That's Nigeria for you. This mindset is not resilience, it is surrender. By constantly adapting to government failure, the masses unknowingly excuse it. When citizens solve problems the state is constitutionally obligated to solve, leaders feel no urgency to act. When citizens solve problems that the state is constitutionally obligated to solve, the leaders feel no urgency to act. Sad. Why invest in electricity when people have generators? Why fix hospitals when the elites can fly abroad? Why reform education when mediocrity has been normalized? Meanwhile, elected officials live like royalty. Convoys of sirens and armed escorts cut through the poverty-stricken streets. Their children school abroad using public fund. They receive world-class medical care overseas paid for by the Commonwealth, fully aware that Nigerian hospitals are neither equipped nor functional. They know the truth about the system, yet they insulate themselves from its consequence. And the people stay quiet. Worse still, they praise these politicians. They line up to shake their hands, take pictures, sing in their praises, beg for crumbs, bags of rice, cash handout, temporary favor, forgetting that what they are begging for already belongs to them. The Commonwealth is not a gift from politicians. This misplaced gratitude is one of the greatest strategies of Nigerian democracy. The Commonwealth is not a gift from politicians. It is the collective property of the people. This misplaced gratitude is one of the greatest strategies of Nigerian purported democracy. A people who should demand accountability instead worship authority. A people who should question power instead seek proximity to it. A people with equal ownership of national resources reduced to political beggars. A people with equal ownership of national resources are reduced to political beggars. Terrible. The truth is uncomfortable but necessary. The political class will never sit up until the masses do. Power concedes nothing voluntarily. It only responds to pressure. Until citizens understand that their collective voice is stronger than any individual office holder, nothing will change. Until Nigerians stop adjusting and start demanding, governance will remain performative and extractive. Democracy is not sustained by elections alone. It is sustained by active citizenship, by protest, by questioning, by refusing to normalize failure. A silent people creates arrogant leaders. A fearful populace empowers tyranny. Nigeria does not lack power. It lacks a people willing to use it. Nigeria does not lack power. It lacks a people. It lacks a people willing to use it. And until that changes, those in power will continue to rule like kings because the masses have allowed themselves to forget that they are the true owners of the state. Nigerian news, Nigerian politics, Nigeria. I really, that's a very good article. I give credit to who wrote it. I just forgot to put the person's name down, and I don't know why I forgot that. But so you guys, that's a pretty interesting. Let's see the mind map of this, and then okay, see what we do from there. Okay, Eboko and Abdullahi, I don't know how you guys plan to take this in terms of discussion, but
Yeah, Mr. Abdullahi can go first. What do you think?
Okay, no problem.
they said the masses are enabling their own. I'm trying to centralize it. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
good.
It's visible.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, masses enabling their own operation.
So it
So
goes on.
this article is just trying to tell us how we, the people, that's we, the one that we are called the masses, how we make things easy for our people that are oppressing us. The root cause, that's from the beginning. What makes it to be like this? That's the root. That's the foundation of this enabling. How do we make this thing possible for them? What causes it? The first one is ignorance of power. That's us not knowing how power works, how things do, how they're supposed to do things. Masses don't know their power or refuse to use it. That's
Or
we, the
not
people, who
knowing
don't know.
Abdullahi, or I'm sorry to interrupt, or not knowing how powerful we are.
Yes,
Not knowing how powerful we are. You know, go ahead.
masses don't know their power. That's how. Okay, what this is just telling us that okay, we, the people, who don't know how powerful we are, what we control, what we can do, and with what we cannot do. So this is just trying to, or maybe we know it and we don't know how to, or we refuse to use it. That's we refuse to. We saying that no, we don't want to use this. We know our power, but we don't want to use it. Just like you have money, but you don't want to spend the money. Then true power lies with the people. So the actual power, the ogonge power, is what with the people. That's the people are those that have power, not the people in the up that will say, Mr. President is powerful, governor is powerful. Not in government buildings, that's not in those offices, not in that beautiful office or that big office that you think power is not there. Power is in the people. Then office are assignment, not thrones. So offices are not what they are not their work is that homework that they used to give you. Okay, go and do this. That's why they say public office is for service, not throne, not something that you put on your head and you'll be thinking that I'm a king, I'm this person, I'll be oppressing with sarin anyhow, going everywhere. And when you are coming, everybody have to clear road. Is assignment, is work that they say that you should go there and do, not just go there and oppress people. Then officials are employees, not kings. All those people that are in that office, they are what is you people, is we the people that what that employ them and give them job. Some of them are jobless. We can't even say what they are doing. They are just like people who no get job. They are jobless, but we give them job. So that's why anybody you give job, you have to what ask the person what is the person doing, how he is doing it. So the next one is citizen tolerance and normalization. So the people, we what? We accept everything. We collect anything where they give us, and we what? We make it normal. Even things that are not supposed to be, that are not good, we make it. This one, is normal. It's something that is. It used to happen always. So that acceptability, always accepting things, make them feel the way they are. What is tolerated becomes normal. So anything where we feel accept is normal. If they will beat you 10, you can collect it, it's normal. If they beat you 20, you can collect, it's normal. So anything that is you can collect, you can take, is normal to you. Even if they can steal your phone, is normal. So nations condition mirrors demand. So nations, that's state where people dey, that's a country where people dey. It what it condition, that's is set. While mirrors, that's mirror, the mirror wey you dey look is what it acts. It acts because when you look at the mirror, you wan see you, then you show you who you are. Then suffering accepted as normal. Suffering, no hunger, no healthcare, nothing wey dey work well, it becomes what normal for us. Everything suffer head na our own. We no get food na our own. No, if you go to hospital, you must buy drugs by yourself, buy injection, everything na our own. We like am like that. Then Nigerians wealth versus reality. Our own money, the money wey we get, all the money wey we get, and wetin dey happen with us. We get money, but this is what is happening with us. Rich in resources, oil, minerals, etc. We get resources, we get the money because we get oil and we get mineral, we get the people, we get the agricultural product, we still get we get all these things. Borrowing heavily, you still get money, you get things where you go carry, where they give you money, but you still dey borrow, you still dey borrow, you dey borrow, you dey borrow, but no improvement. As we dey borrow, say maybe some people go say, I dey borrow ma boost my market, so that when my market grow, I will pay that money and I will continue to live comfortably. But this one, our own, we dey borrow, but e no dey show for our business, e no dey show for our body, we no dey live good. Suffering na im dey add for our body. That's what this one is saying. Then borrowing shared among elites. So the only money when they say okay, they borrow to construct road, you know they see the road, but and the contract who they give, friends and families. Then culture of adjustment, no confrontation. We get this thing for our mind. When today you wear one trouser, they flog you 20, tomorrow you say, so since they will flog me 30 tomorrow, I will just I'll add trousers. Everything, if they push you, instead of you to pull back, you will just say, okay, find the other way. Find the other way. Always finding excuses. Finding excuse for the problem where they happen. This thing now, now Gary is 1-5, and I go manage am like that. We go manage am like that. Instead of saying, why is it like this? Who is responsible? I go accept am like that. We go do am. Then private survival instead of collective pressure. So everybody is one man to himself. No be say all of us dey try organize ourselves, say more stop the problem. No, everybody to himself. Nobody they think of, okay, let's have collective action. Just like the way movement radio is trying to bring like minds together. But we all of us now our problem since me I chop I shikena the other person may just the example electricity, education, healthcare. Now people they buy things. Electricity now you they do am for your house. You dey pay your light bill if you dey see light. If you na generator now you dey fuel am. If na solar now you buy am. Drugs now you dey buy. You know they go hospital get drugs. You go hospital no drugs, no doctor. Everything now you dey provide for yourself. This is surrender, not resilience. So this is not showing that you are strong and you dey try. This is you are saying that me I don't hands up. Anything wey you want do for me, do am. Me I no go do anything. That means you are saying that you don't surrender. You know fit fight. No be say that doesn't make you what a strong person. That makes you a weak person. That means you don't know. Then leaders incentive to do nothing. Leaders incentive to do nothing. So you always what leaders give what you give them incentive to do nothing. You citizens solve state problems. That's what you are doing. Road spoil, you fix it. Hospital, medicine no dey, you buy it. Electricity no dey, you buy for yourself. You do everything yourself. Security, you hire private security to guard your area. All those things you are what you are giving people say you are dashing people money for doing nothing. You solve problem wey person wey you elect. The constitutional responsibility of every elected official is what protect life and property and make policy that will affect everybody positively. But they are not doing, and you are still what doing their job for them. That means you are giving them incentives. No urgency to invest or fix. No urgency. There is nothing like okay, let's do this thing. More just try solve this problem. Nobody they think of that one. The problem, let it persist.
Mr.
Let it just
Abdullahi,
keep going.
I
Sir?
be one comment about this citizen
Okay.
solving state problem.
State problem. Okay,
Now,
no
something wey
problem.
we
You
say
can.
many of our people free relate, and from the comment section on X, person talk say VDM needs to hear this. Now the thing way, and of course, the reason why the person talk this, all of us know is a public knowledge that this is an individual that organizes its followers to go and solve what should be citizen, the problem of the state. For instance, sanitation. All right, when the government has failed to clean, it's like you want to say something, Mr.
No.
Alaba.
Continue. I just want to add to that. That's a continue. You're making a very valid point. Go ahead.
Yes, so I'm just reacting to what the comment section of the X is saying right now. You know, instead of pressuring the government to do their job to enforce, waste management and to create waste management facilities, as it is in a state that is regarded as the center of excellence, like the like cream lab, like the top of the echelon in terms of our states in Nigeria, they are still disposing wastes like as if we are living in 1960s. Open dumping of refuse. There's a particular portion of land after Ojota in Lagos State where they dump refuse. Whenever you pass, it's an express road, though. The place smells like something else. And of course, if you look at how the systems of picking up waste from house to house and collection of bills from people to pay for their waste is very, very terrible. And this is from a state that is regarded like the center of excellence. So you now have individuals like VDM mobilizing the people to go and pack gutter on behalf of the state
Yeah.
when the states have failed to provide enough personnel to clean
Yeah.
the street. Yeah.
Now, this is where I want to add a very important point for, with you mentioning people like BDM. You see, this is where we talk about when the movement radio is telling you that we have only three problems: the ruiners, number one; collective silence, and the enemies within. Now, if the governments are not doing what they are supposed to do, and you, the citizen, you are going to do it for them because you need it, you need water, you need road, you need security, you are now an enemy within. You are part of the problem. You just don't know that you are an enemy within. So somebody like VDM now, he might think he's doing good. Yes, he's doing good. Let's paraphrase it properly. But he's doing good in the wrong direction. He's doing good to enhance the problem to continue. Because where he should have put pressure is for the government to do their job, not go and do it for them. The same one, not just VDM, all of us, each one of us that are listening, that are not listening. That's what we are. That is what we are all
How about
doing.
public water? When we say everybody just they build borehole,
But
you know,
that's
we
where
hold
we become.
government
That's how we
responsible.
become.
So
Listen,
all of
that
us,
is how
we are part
we
of these
become.
enemies within.
Yes, we are. That's the truth. Because for
So
as
they
long
run
as you
away
do it
from the
for
problem.
yourself, the government has no incentive to fix it. You've done it. You got borrowed now. Why should I give you water? That's how a community works. That's how a country works. If a tree falls in front of my house and the government is supposed to come cut them and I go cut them, I have already told the government I don't need them. So this is why we have to keep opening our mental capacity and mind to see how we ourselves are contributing to the problem. We're trying to solve the problem, don't get me wrong, which is not a bad idea, but we're solving it the wrong way. We're solving it in a way that the problem will persist for our children to inherit. That is tragic. The best way to solve it is for me and you that don't have borehole, for everyone that live on that street to line up and go to the government and say, who is in charge of borehole? Do you have money for borehole? Come and build borehole. Come and build real water. Come and provide electricity. That's how you solve communal problem. You don't improvisation is cowardice. It's not courage. You're surrendering. And then you will be the first to now blame, the government did not give us water. The government did not give us hospital. But you gave yourself generator. Why should the government? So we have to, that's the mission of this movement radio, is to provide that mirror. Provide that mirror for each one of us to see how we are contributing to the decadence that is now Nigeria. We are talking about 66 years of decadence. This is a lot of years. That's almost 5 generations. I don't know how you guys count generation. That's a lot. You know, they didn't do. It's not today. Look, go and listen to Fela's song. He said, if I sing about this, now old news be that. If I sing say water no day, now old news be that. If I sing about corruption, that now old news be that. So what do I want to sing about? So we let those problems compound, but we are very quick to point finger at Babangida, at Buhari. Although they are the winners, don't get me wrong. I've listed them as number one. You still call them leaders. You should call them ruiners. When you call them leaders, or you accept that they are your political leaders, you're part of the problem. These are the little ways. Now, I used to have a professor back then in LASU, Dr. Lawal. He was saying, now small shit, now in the block yansh. Now Nigerian yansh don't block totally. These are the little ways we, the people, and that's what this article, how the people themselves contribute to their own decadence. And we have to build that mirror in front of us. What are we doing today? What did we do yesterday that we will not do tomorrow? That's how change comes. That's how revolution comes. If on 2023 you voted APC and you've seen the damage they've done, and you 2027 and you go and vote APC again, you are part of the problem. If in 2023 they stole your votes because you voted for Labour, and in 2027 they've already started stealing it, and you're still not doing anything about. We saw all the election in Abuja, in Ondo, in Edo. They're still stealing it, and you're still doing not. You are part of the problem. So these are conversations we as a people need to have with ourselves. When the people are conscientized enough to know that this is how they are contributing, when the politicians know that the people are no longer contributing, they will run. They won't even be bold enough to tell you that they want to run again because they know you won't have it. Forget voting. I don't have water. Who is responsible for water? Local government. You go to local government. Why don't I have water? Why don't I have electricity? You do it collectively. That's why we talk about collective silence. We're speaking, but we're not speaking enough. We're responding, but we're not responding and reacting enough. Enough to say, it's like somebody slap you. And then you turn the other cheek, they slap you. Then you turn the next cheek, and they will continue to slap you until you have no more face. It is the day that you hold your hand that if you slap me again, I will stab you. You will now see whether that person will attempt to raise their hand to slap you. This is the Nigerian problem. Once you allow a bully and you normalize bullying, it will continue. Your generation will inherit it. Your child's child, grandchildren will inherit it. Because you allowed it. When journalists stand in front of these people and they start talking rubbish why they didn't provide electricity, or they start talking the coastal highway that they've only built 30 kilometers in 1 year, and you as a journalist don't hold them to account, you are an enemy within. You don't ask the vital question, how are you going to finish this coastal highway in 10 years if you've only built 30 kilometers in 3 years? What are you doing different? You have failed. So the Nigerian problem is an enemy within problem. And the enemies within don't even know they are enemies. When citizens solve, you know how many problems we have solved ourselves? Country no good, ajapa. School no good, we go abroad. This one no good, we do this. We always improvise. We call it survivor. No, we are part of our own problem.
If you see the kind bad boy, we some people take do security.
Yeah.
Wow. And they'll go if it's not even the gate go it go fall because
And
they
then they're
won't
very
protect
good
themselves.
at pointing fingers. They did not do. The government should do. The government. What have you done to make sure the government does? That's why I respect. I respect people like Showore, people like Dele, people like Mr. Elvis, people like Peter Akan. They are doing their own role. What are you doing? And we have some miscreants on the internet, on this earth now, supporting the government did not do. That's even worse. It's a separate thing not to respond, to say don't do it. For you now to say, but they are doing, in the face of the abundance evidence of them sharing money and defending it. So there's nothing to say about mad people. Just leave those ones alone. But let's talk to those who have brain right now. Let's leave the mad people alone. So let's go. That's the key thing. Citizens solving problem. Of course, leaders would insulate themselves from consequences. There's borehole now. Why you have generator now? Why you need what do you need electricity for? What do you need electricity
for them? I don't beat fence for ourselves, put gate for our estate. What do you now want makes government do to secure your life?
Again. You've already built your fence. You have your Amotekun. So why should the soldier come protect you? Nobody's coming to help you. You have solved your own. You have solved your own problem.
Money for vigilante.
You have solved the problem. So why should I even include that in the budget? This is part of the reality, and that you don't see in the world where we are running to. In all these countries we are running to, they don't see that. The phone number of the alderman's office will be full. People calling. This road is not good. When are you coming to fix it? When are you coming? And by the time they call 5 or 3 times, they start signing signatures to remove that person from office. But this one is not doing the job we gave him. But Nigerians are so dormant. Although it's a learned dormancy, we got to give it to the people. It's not their fault. Over the years, they've been engineered to be like this. That's why mediums like this are necessary to re-educate, to reorientate the mind, to revolutionize the mind, so that people can now see what they are doing that is part of the problem and what they need to start doing to solve the problem. You know, let's say let me name a street in Mushin, a street maybe Kayode Street in Mushin. If everybody in Kayode Street goes out to the chairman's office and say our road is not good, everybody on that street, the chairman will either run away or fix that road. He only has two options. But when nobody does nothing, everybody build their own gate, everybody build their own, but I'll carry money, go abroad, Jare, go spend.
I beg you, make una no leave Nigeria as alone. No, make them go the GIA.
It's true now.
It's crazy.
We have to say, all of us have to say what is our share.
I say, make
We
una
know
dey-
the
make una dey
winners.
suffer dey go. Mr. Alaba wan leave us, make we dey suffer alone. I
Ẹ
beg
tí
you.
jìyà tó ní ìbílẹ̀ lọ́lọ́ ṣé fọ́hùn ẹgbà yẹn ò tí ì dùn ẹ́ tó ní wọ́n ní kí lóògùn wèrè inú wèrè gan when they beat wèrè tẹ́gbà yẹn bá wọ̀ lára àbúgbéta wọ́n dẹ̀ náà yín wọ́n náà yẹn yóò pariwo ókè bóyá ká tún já kòbókò míì.
You know everything Mr. Alaba dey talk, Mr. Abdullahi. He say even if you beat a madman sef dey respond to beating. But when you are beating person wey talk say him dey normal and he no respond to say he dey beat am, wetin be that one? Is it not madness?
He is dead.
He's dead. He's a zombie. That's why we call it a zombie, turning people into zombies and criminals. When we make those analyses, we're not joking. The country is turning human beings into zombies and criminals. That is the only product you can get from Nigeria. So the young ones now, if this system does not crash, you're going to have more zombies. You're going to have 400 million zombies and 400 million criminals in the next 50 years.
Definitely.
In the next
That's a
50
tragedy.
years.
We don't want that kind of tragedy. That would be catastrophic, man.
That's
Then
a,
if we
that's a
don't work
catastrophe
out
for
the way
mankind.
out,
You know?
we will get it.
Yeah, Mr. Abdullah, you want to say something?
Yes, I say if we did not find a way out of this, what Mr. Alaba is saying is what we are going to resort to. Because it did not start today. Many people have called, okay, like for example, the likes of Fela, they have been talking for a long period of time until their time comes out that they were out of, and then we now, if we are not saying it, so the same thing, them now we always remember them and we always say that okay, they have said this, but we, if we keep quiet, it will happen to our children and they will ask question, what did our parents do? Then what
Interesting.
or maybe you are even alive, they will ask you, okay, when it started happening or when it's happening in your time, what did you do?
Interesting.
So in order for you to have answers, it's now time for you to what? To act.
Let's check on our folks on X. Beatrice, any comments so far so good? Or perhaps anyone wants to chime in from X platform, please pick up the mic and we would indeed pause to hear from you. Beatrice, any comments? Okay, I think Beatrice is not available for now. So let's proceed with
African Wahala is on the background. Maybe if you say something.
the African Wahala, any country. Oh, yeah, we called you, Beatrice. Have you been listening to what we've been discussing? No.
Distracted as well.
Yes, I understand. I understand. So yeah, maybe let's just keep speaking about the issues. Then you catch up with us, as we go along. Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, the African Wahala. Would you like to chime in?
Yes, I mean, everything has already been said, but there is always more that can be added because our problems have been existing for so long and it has now been deeply entrenched in our system, in our culture, that we are now actively against ourselves as a society. Like what Movement Radio said, imagine if all the guys in Mushin, that Kayode Street, they all went out to the chairman's house because they don't have, they have some potholes that have been disturbing business owners, residents. If everybody goes to that guy's office, he wouldn't have a choice. He would either run away or fix it. But for us to even imagine everybody going to his office, maybe that's far-fetched. Let's assume 20% of the population of Kayode Street, all the adults that exist on Kayode Street, if just 20% of them marched to that chairman's house every day for 2 weeks, demanding that he fixes the bad roads, what would happen is he will be put under so much pressure and he would have 3 choices. The first choice is to fix the problem immediately because that pressure will be too much. The second option is to run away because he knows he can't fix the problem and these people are going to get angrier and they will hold him accountable. And me saying holding him accountable, the definition is broad. They could do anything to him. The third option that he has is to utilize the Nigerian culture that is against Nigeria by hiring thugs. He will just go and hire a bunch of Agbero. You know, hey, let me give you guys 10,000. If these people come and protest tomorrow, use your machetes to chase them away. Because the Nigerian system has intentionally created the Agberos that can be utilized by the corrupt chairman. How did the Nigerian system create it? Obviously, lack of education. The system intentionally made a lot of our people lack access to education, then lack of economic opportunities. So because they lack education, so they don't have the skills to be employable or to really contribute to society, and they also don't have economic powers, then they become easy to be used as political thugs. The ones that can be used as political thugs from other regions, because of the same Nigerian system, the same way the Nigerian system has intentionally kept our people without any education or civic knowledge, or even the ability to survive in the world. You find people that now no education, no employable skills, then they simply join terror groups. After all, if we have like different terrorists, you know, these terrorists, this guy here, he was also from this our poor community. Now he's doing much better economically because he joined ISWAP or because he joined one other full terrorist group. He's now economically viable than the other young people that have no education, no employable skills. That is where they are going. They are easily going to join the same terror groups. So when we have all these millions of children that have been put through the Nigerian Alimajiri system, it's a Nigerian system. The Alimajiri system is a Nigerian system. It is peculiar to it. It originated from Nigeria. I don't understand how Nigeria remixed an entire religion for its own selfish purpose. So you have millions of children going through an Alimajiri system. They become teenagers and adults. They don't have any skills. They don't have any education. They don't even know who they are. And they worship their fellow men because Nigeria has indoctrinated them to be that way. Of course, they are going to join terror groups once they become late teens, early 20s, because what else are they going to do? They are victims of the system. The same way those Agberos in Kayode Street, Mushin, have been used to become political thugs to attack the indigents of Kayode Street for going to protest against the corrupt chairman for stealing the funds that was meant to repair the roads. So, like I said, just in a quick summary, if the people can come together, just a fraction of the people, 20%, And we don't allow ourselves to fall victims to that analogy of the animal kingdom. There was a story read earlier using animals and their ability to organize and cooperate for a common cause. But whenever the animals are fighting against each other, instead of collaborating for a common cause, then the oppressors find it easier to maintain the oppression. So in order for us not to behave like those animals, then we have to find a way to just put our differences aside. These differences are actually irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. These things that we've allowed ourselves to be Nigerianly indoctrinated, like religion, some useless traditional beliefs. You see, a lot of times people will be telling us that stop criticizing those politicians for stealing your money. Don't you know they are old enough to be your father? Does a Yoruba boy talk that way to the elders? You see, that's how they use tradition, culture and tradition to manipulate us. You are a victim of a criminal politician. You are trying to hold him accountable. But someone from your community will come and tell you that no, in our culture, we don't insult old people. We allow old people. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated that way because you are the victim. If you fail to hold people accountable, I'm talking about the people at the helm of affairs for ruining your life, contributing towards ruining your life, and you allow a cultural or traditional aspect prevent you from holding them accountable, then you are part of the problem. Or if you allow religion, they'll tell you that, oh, in our religion, we have to pray for our leaders. You know, our leaders is God. God chose our leaders. Because God gave us, and you see those fake leaders on the national TV, they will come and manipulate you. They'll tell you that, you see, let's just pray to God. You see, it's God. God gave us the victory in the election. It's a lie. It's a lie. God did not do anything for them. These are thieves. Don't allow your religion prevent you from holding your corrupt politicians accountable. If any religious leader, regardless the religious background, tells you that just pray for your leader, our holy scripture says we should pray for our leader, tell them, if you can't tell them to shut up because you are not confident, do yourself a favor and excuse yourself from that environment and make sure you tell many people about that environment, that environment is an indoctrination center to keep you enslaved. So these are some of the things that I pulled out from the recent conversation in the last 20 minutes. I just thought I shared my perspective, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so very much, the African Wahala, and thank you so much to all our listeners across all platforms. Yeah.
Thank you
Would like
very
to
much,
chime in?
African Wahala. You're giving us a very, very vital insight. Even with the chairman paying talks, if a few good men just persist, even the talks after a while will be like, oh no, number one, KBC number or whatever. They will japa. Anyway, let's continue, people. Thank you very much, African Wahala. Your input. That's why we gave you VIP into the studio.
I greet you, my bros. No wahala, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Go on. Who's reading? Is it me or Abdullahi? Or
Yeah.
it's me that's
Let's just run. Yeah.
it's me
Let's
that
just
was
run through the
continuing.
rest.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the next aspect of this, how we our people contribute to their own problem, is this misplaced gratitude and the worship of authority, which African Wahala alluded to. They are three things our mind structure as does not really explain better to us. We are always begging for what is rightfully ours. All these things we are talking about, good schools, road, water, hospitals, shelter, jobs, these are your human rights property. That's why fella said human right now my property, so therefore you can't dash me human right. You are created with this inalienable rights. God made it for you, that no man, no king no chairman, no governor, no president should take away from you. But here you are now with a mindset of begging for what is yours. I beg, just give us water. I beg, just give us electricity. I beg, just give us good road. If government go fit just give us, just give us. Why would they give you what is yours? You demand what is yours. You don't beg, begging for what is rightly yours. Your property is your property. You can't be begging somebody to give you your own property, another human being. That means you are a slave in your own father's land. That means you're not a citizen. The only thing you should do is to demand it. Demand accountability. That's what they mean. Demand accountability, not proximity. Our people always want to be close to the corridors of power. They want to be close to governor. They want to be close to minister. They want to be close. Now, small. This man has put everything in song. Now, back by them will go. They want to be close. They want to be friend to minister, friend to Bonami, friend to Jonah. Like Obasanjo and Abiola, international chief. That man's songs are encyclopedia of wisdom. People should just listen. You're not what you don't need proximity to power. You demand accountability from power. That is the Nigerian error. Everybody wants to be close to the corridors of power. It is tragic. It is tragic. So, and one thing you need to know about power is that it concedes nothing voluntarily. No matter how much you beg, power will not give you. You like beg. I mean, government, and that's all I hear when that's why we have been miseducated though. That's colonial education curriculum got to go. When I hear our colleagues talk on Twitter, on X, on YouTube, every statement that comes out of their mouth is so disgustingly annoying. Government should give us this. Government should do that. You demand, you don't beg. Power concedes nothing voluntarily. It's not going to give you. Your life will not be better. You won't get better schools. You won't get better road. You won't get better because you're begging, because you're appealing to the conscience of evil men. You appeal to the conscience of a good man. Hardly would you get it. Not to talk of the conscience of an evil person. Someone whose consciousness is dead. Those are the ones you're begging to give you good governance. Yeah, they will give you. It's your gift. You demand. And those that are demanding, what are you doing? You're cursing them. That Showore Wahala too much. That Mayegun General Wahala too much. That Bitaka can self too they talk. And that Rufai Wahala too much. People who are telling you the truth. Your power concedes nothing. It is there. It concedes nothing to nobody. If you like beg. Power only responds to pressure. Power only responds to pressure. If you don't put pressure, you're not getting nothing. You go remain poor. You no go get water. The whole world go they fly cars where they fly. You go still they use generator. And they call yourself big man inside your shito banana island. Inside your shito Victoria Island. Inside your shito Ikoyi. Because you're not responding, you're not applying pressure. Power only responds to pressure. And then you don't make your collective voice stronger by connecting with those who are conscious, who think like you. You are busy listening to those miscreants, those idiots on X who are saying we are doing well. The government is doing good. Yeah, you're there, part of their numbers. Instead of coming to a medium like this where your mind will be open, your consciousness will be awoken. You will rather go and join those that are not saying anything sensible. In fact, I will give it Ibukun the assignment now. Ibukun, if you can, We will go give it like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, go through each medium and we will go and hear the rubbish each of them is discussing now. And we will look at the numbers of how many people are listening to rubbish. You are only a product of what you hear. Spend hours listening to all these Agbadorians, miscreants, fools who are being paid to seduce you, to sedate you. Sorry, I said seduce. Yes, it's seduce also. So it is only a citizenship that is active, that acts, that can sustain democracy, not people who are lukewarm, asleep. Give us, government must do this. Which, I always ask, which government? First of all, acknowledge the fact that you don't have a government. Then stop asking what you don't have to give you what you don't have. I'm confused. I don't know whether it must be me. But you can't even acknowledge the fact that you don't have a government, you don't have a democracy. You're saying government should do, government should. Are you okay? And here are the consequences of our silence. That's why I said we identified 3 problems: the ruiners, and the ruiners are not going anywhere until we deal with the enemies within. The number 2 people are the enemies within. Once we dealt with the enemies within, then we will now have a collective voice. And once we have a collective voice, I'm telling you, because power concedes nothing to nobody, the ruiners will run away. They will run. Because a collective voice is stronger. I don't know how else we could do this civic education for our people, or for it to enter their head. You go around all the media, you will see what they are discussing. Issue of pata, issue of shokoto, issue of look, you can imagine how much problem we have in this country, and we have our 40 years old, 30 years old, and 50 years old discussing personalities. They're discussing Atiku Mogbe, they're discussing Tinubu Mogbe, they're discussing individuals instead of discussing policies. A country is bedeviled with this level of problem, and that is what you fools are talking about. Only go. The consequence of silence and fear. If we don't have that collective voice, we continue in our silence, we continue in our cowardice, and this is going to be what we will gain from such action. The road we are taking now, this is how it's going to end for us. Silent people would always get arrogant leaders, and Nigeria, our leaders have gotten so arrogant. Kò tiẹ̀ ṣe pé wọ́n gba wèrè mẹ́sìn, wọ́n ọgbọ́n tí wọ́n á tún di wèrè pẹ̀lú courage, come on stage and tell you how they are stealing your money. They come on stage and tell you how you don't understand, how you are the one who don't get it. They come on stage and tell you shouldn't criticize them. They have gotten we've given boldness to insanity. Wèrè wá ní stage, òun náà perform bí Michael Jackson, ẹ̀yin náà jókòó ẹ̀ ń wò. Ìlú ti dàrú o. Silent people create arrogant leaders because you never talk. Fearful populace empowers tyranny, and that's what we are going through now, where they can come and pick you up. They won't pick a terrorist up, but they will pick you up to go lock you up because you call their president a drug dealer, and he's a drug dealer. That's tyranny. They don't pick nobody up. You don't use institutions of government to oppress the people. The masses allow leaders to rule like kings. You're going to get the Nigeria we have today. That's the summary of that one. If any of our viewers want to contribute, Ibukun and Abdullah, you guys take it over from there. That's all we got for the people. We hope we are getting the message across. People are learning. The point is to teach, though. It's not that to say we know better. It's just to wake people's consciousness up. And we believe once we can do that, we can have the revolution we seek. The revolution of the mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
You cannot have a revolution when you do not have a proper knowledge of what's going on and how you want to get rid of the ruiners as a result of your collective advocacy or your collective resistance. Silent people breeds tyrants. You are enabling the oppression by your silence. And you saying you want to ignore the government because this is quite rampant. Is quite a thing now. Let us leave the government alone. Let us crowdfund. A child dropped out of school, and your solution is let us crowdfund for him. Let's go and set up a GoFundMe,
Listen,
or
Ibuku,
let us.
until those people who come on stage to make those crazy comments start getting fearful, until you call them to order, until you
Mm,
call them who they are, weary, insane, and shut them up, because not all opinions are mainstream. We will continue to give courage to madness. That's what that is. A madman coming on stage in his nakedness and telling you that you are the one that is mad. You have to shut it down. Kílógún wèrè ẹgbàá ni. And àwọn wèrè dẹ̀ ti pọ̀ wọ́n káàkiri gbogbo internet.
I'm
They're the
telling
one
you,
shutting.
the
They're coming
madness,
corporately to tell you the government is doing well. The coastal road is
madness is not
this. ASU have not
madness
gone
is
on strike in 3 years. That is an achievement. Excuse my Yoruba Jare.
That's not an
Abdullahi,
the only
Abdullahi,
thing
no
that trends
verse.
now. The only thing that trends now is something crazy. Anything that makes sense hardly trends. That is it. That is the
No,
fact.
you shut them down. You go into their medium and shut them down. Let them know they are insane. They need a doctor. They just escaped
And
from an asylum.
the funny part is that they have a way of barricading their platform such that intelligent conversation does not percolate.
Yeah, that's
They
why you leave them
resist,
in their echo chamber.
they resist any form of honest inquiry and intellectual discourse that subjects their nonsense to the highest level of scrutiny.
Their brain is fried. Brain is dead. How can they have intellectual anything? Their brain is gone, dead.
They're pushed
Oti
back.
Dokuta, they are the wife of Job that look back, that turned to salt. That brain is dead. You can't have no conversation with people like you. Shut them down. You let the people see them for who they are. People with no brain.
And
So why should they be on the? Why should they have
look
a
very blessed.
microphone? This is what I have with most of our moderates and most of our so-called educated people. You keep giving microphone to those you know you shouldn't give microphone to. Say on in the name of free speech. Yes, there's free speech, but not all opinions are equal. Some opinions don't belong in the public. The opinion that
some
dehumanizes another
opinion
human being.
intoxicate.
Eh?
Some opinion are toxic.
They are toxic to humanity. They are. And you let the people know that those opinions are toxic. Opinion that says in 2026 we are doing well in Nigeria, that is toxic.
When you import almost everything consumable.
You know.
So thank you so very much, dear audience. And I think we have one more comment on air.
Ask the
Okay.
people on X, ask them if they need a microphone so it's not just us talking. I'll keep
Yeah,
quiet for a while.
I have I've been I've been announcing for them, and for the feedback has been great. I called on Beatrice not quite long. I'll call on her one more time if she's got a contribution as we wind down the curtain. We have spent 3 hours, 13 minutes in
If
this
people want
program.
to contribute on how people are contributing to the problem, let us know. It's only when we examine ourselves that we can get to a better place. Let people talk about that if they want to. We're
Absolutely.
not in a rush. If people want to contribute, we want to hear their opinion. That's what we are just here to free the mind. We are here towards freedom. We are changing narrative. We are empowering minds. The movement radio is a medium for liberation of the African mind. The biggest weapon the oppressor has against you is your mind. Once they capture your mind, those are bigger chains than physical chains. We're there to liberate that mind. Free your mind and the rest will follow. So ask them. There are people. I'm sorry for the guys on Instagram. We
They
can.
are hearing us loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, the guys on Instagram. I don't know how you can get the microphone. It's
Instagram,
only people on
Instagram is a
X.
one-way. Instagram is a one-way traffic with video.
Okay,
All they can do is to drop a comment, whatever
and for
comment that they
YouTube
drop.
people, we're not discussing through YouTube. We're only discussing through X. So it's only X people that can ask for a microphone. It will take it over from there and tell us what we are doing next.
So yes, we've got Beatrice on the speaker section on X, and what's your contribution? Having had quite a number of talking points after I called you the last time. I don't know if you are available to speak this time around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, please proceed.
On, having something to say about how it was discussed, and I wanted to contribute on that in particular. I feel like we need to discuss revolution in ways that are more appealing to the people and entertaining and most of all sexy, because we all know that sex sells, and I feel like our liberation is lacking sex appeal. Thank you.
Mm. That's indeed something for us to ruminate on. We have to look for ways to polish it up one way or the other. Information is as good as how you present it. Manner of approach also matters a great deal. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we have done a good job to indeed make it as polite, as civic as possible, make it as very informative as possible, not rigid. And we open the microphone for everybody to pick up the mic and contribute. And of course, even drop their comments. If you are in a place where you can't speak, there's a provision for you to drop your comments across all platforms. And we have been reading it. We have read comments from YouTube. In fact, one of our viewers on YouTube is already in the studio with us, and he has contributed quite a great deal, the African Wahala. And of course, on the Twitter comment section, we've had Don Wise, who has indeed contributed a strong message. VDM needs to hear this. So he dropped that comment on the X platform. So to as many as those that are listening to us on other platform, if it is not a platform where you can request for the mic directly, you can drop your comment. We would see it in the studio here in real time and we will read it. So having taken the feedback from Beatrice, and nobody is requesting but for the mic. Okay.
We need to infuse more hedonism as well in our revolution, because humans are always going to seek hedonism and escapism. So that's another thing.
Absolutely. And well, I think your space yesterday served that purpose, really, doesn't it? That's why after when we are done here, I think your space is the after party, to go unwind and to have laid back conversations. Please, if you are here to follow Beatrice, if you are here to follow Movement Radio, if you are here to follow Liberation Chat, please do so now, so that you will be notified whenever we are live. And of course, across all our platforms like YouTube, if you are listening to us on YouTube, please remember to subscribe. Very important. The only purpose of that subscription and turning on the notification bell is to be notified whenever we are live. All right. There's no way you'll be notified if you do not follow or subscribe. You would, most likely arrive late or not get the memo that we are live. So please do that across all platforms. And well, it's all replayable, on all the platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on only TikTok that you cannot replay our broadcast. But across all other platforms, you can replay it. Even on this audio platform, X, you can indeed replay all that we have said. You can play it back at your leisure time, or perhaps you came late. We have been here for over 3 hours. So it's all recorded. So you have not missed a thing if you replay it. Please share so that others can also learn a thing or two from what is being discussed here. Mr. Abdullah Salisu, any comments as we draw the curtain?
Hmm. Thank you. I just enjoy the conversation today with Victories and African Wahala. I think it's quite interesting. I look forward for them to keep coming every day, every minute, and more people should join in because this is a collective job that we have to do. So, and I think this is the two articles read today are powerful articles and they are awakening voice that are trying to tell us our responsibility and the result of our inactions. So, and it's reckoned with the three key principles of movement radio. And I think it will go a long way if we can share this as much as possible as we can, because this is what will reignite Nigerians and tell them about their responsibility. It's not all about getting food to eat. It's all about doing the necessary things. So thank you so much.
I want to say thank you to everybody that joined us for participating. Click the link button, subscribe so you can get notification when we come on live. Share the video. We're basically just trying to change mind. We want to move our country towards freedom, liberation. We want to change the narrative that's currently on the ground. We want to empower the minds of the people so they can free themselves. This is what the movement radio medium is for. Is for the liberation of the African mind, and we'll bring you topical issues and opinions by talented Africans or Nigerians, so that we could ruminate on it together and share views and know where we stand, where we are coming from, and most particularly where we are going. I want to thank you all on Instagram. There's a long list of people that joined. They have all these code names. I don't even know how to spell them, but I thank them, like about 15 people there. I want to thank people on Facebook, on YouTube, and particularly those of you that joined us on X. We are rounding up for the day. As usual, we would have music on X and Instagram later on, and Twitch. I didn't even say hi to those on Twitch if there's anybody there. Yeah, we will have music after show music, and I think Thursday will be our next live video. We will have a repeat broadcast of shows tomorrow. And thank you all. Thank you, African Wahala. God bless you. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Freno, Ingenious, Ajanaku, Omologo, thank you. Third Eye Politics, thank you. Aesthetic, Up Agent, thank you. Henry 20, thank you. And Don Wise, thank you. And thank you very much, Don Wise, for your comments. I can't call the names of the people on Instagram, they're too coded for me. And thank everybody for joining us. We appreciate you being a part of this. So I want you to share it. We want you to tell people about us. We're not partisan in any way or form. We just want the country to change. We want our people to live a better life as we go forward in 2026. We want them to have citizenship. We feel the only way we could do that is to start to educate the minds of our people. And once they are liberated in their minds, they will liberate themselves. Thank you all for joining us. Abdullahi and Ibukun, your last comment. And African Wahala, your last comment before we go. Your final submission, African Wahala. Is it still there?
Yeah, I guess it's busy with other things. So thank you so very much, the African Wahala, and to as many as those that have been able to listen to our broadcast today. Thursday is the next show, very power packed and will be insightful as always. Tomorrow is a replaced broadcast. Thursday is the next broadcast, live broadcast, and of course on Saturday and Sunday. Thank you so very much, and we look forward to having all of you in our next live broadcast. Bye bye for now.